official definition.
Okay,
What does that mean?
I think maybe, did I read it in here, you guys?
I thought it had to do with like our basic, like our candy shops, like if you're going to be a watch repair.
Oh, I'm sorry, here it is. You did provide it. Okay, page 1 of 10.
Oh, shoot, I should have just looked.
That's okay. Number 9, Central Business District, CBD, provides for an area of convenient, attractive, concentrated commercial development primarily intended for retail, financial, entertainment, and professional services occurring within enclosed structures. Regulations applying to this zone are designed to encourage a compact group of businesses of the type which are mutually beneficial and located close enough together to encourage walk-in trade. All of which sounds fine, except for the light manufacturing. And we, in my opinion, we do need to write an ordinance that enforces our boundary.
Was there a definition for what light manufacturing means so that we can talk about that and see what is the problem?
I mean, that's in here.
That's what the light manufacturing was like, giving the permit, and it's making, watchmaking, like it's small stuff. It's
Right.
Is it pot making and things like that? Yeah, see?
What was that?
It's
Pot.
not supposed to make a lot of noise or smell.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Yeah.
something small
Yep.
that could be kind of unobtrusive.
Right.
From what I remember.
Yep.
It was, I think, in her last.
Well, it sounds like it's stuff that's already
So,
happening there.
Okay, now,
They're just actually writing it
Did-
into
did-
whatever the definition is.
Well, I don't know if they're manufacturing.
did you guys actually go through this?
I just got it. I went through it rather quickly. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
got it
I
at the
went
last minute.
through mine, and mine have as well, and I highlighted things that should be, I've also got questions. Okay, so on page 3 of 10,
Okay.
all their stuff is two letters or a letter and a number. And we, I think, had 4, and I brought it down to 3, historic business district.
Mm-hmm.
And so adding a column under where you see central business district, adding a column right past that.
Yeah, that was
And
what we
then-
recommended.
Right. And then here are these Bailey, I'm sorry, Director Saylor and Clerk Ballou put all this together without any guidance from us. So anyway,
Very well
now
done.
we have all the uses.
Good
so
job.
I spent time, and I'm
Good job, Brenda.
sure a couple of others did, and highlighted things that would definitely work in our area. That's, under the central business district, but not all of this stuff is going to work in our area. So, Commissioner Ward, you brought before us something from Council Member Casagrande
Uh-huh.
that gave us our first insight into visually seeing what the land use table is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how she suggested that we create our own column, and
Right.
then that we define our own land uses
Right.
for that column.
That was her recommendation.
So we've been given a very clear tool here, thankfully, to our clerk and our director, to make to come up with our plan use pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, we could do it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Commissioner Benoit.
I totally agree, and I've looked through this table too. And what we started talking about was light manufacturing, which happens to be in this list, and it's not even listed in the commercial business district. So I believe what they're going to talk about is, can we add that?
To the
But
commercial business, is that what?
Right, and even if they did, that doesn't necessarily mean that we would put it in our column for historic commercial business district or whatever. But the key thing, what I was trying to find out is, according to this, you're saying that you would like to see it so that they do not allow commercial or light manufacturing exactly is the definition of light manufacturing? So if we're going to say yes or no for the historic business district, we know what we're talking about.
Well, that's why I
Because I'm not
asked,
quite sure exactly.
because
what
we are,
what
it sounds like
is.
from the definition that was given, we're already doing, I mean, it's like Sweet Darling in
Right,
the
'cause
Brown
if
and
you're gonna
Hawkins
say
building.
no, what does that mean? The
Go
Brown
with
and Hawkins candy making has been happening since the beginning of sewer couldn't operate.
Right, that's what,
That seems like important.
It's the only one not on here.
it's what now?
It's the only one not on here.
It's
Light
on here.
manufacturing.
It's on here, if you look under manufacturing.
No, right here. The definition. You asked for the definition. It's the only one that doesn't.
Oh, that doesn't have a definition.
Yeah. But anyway, we've got an idea of what it is.
Well, there should be a definition if they're gonna add it.
Well, so anyway, Commissioner Benoit, I do believe that we need to get an ordinance written that puts teeth in our boundary, in our historic business district boundary. And then we need to do the ordinance or whatever we do through planning and zoning to add our column and what our land use choices are.
Yep, I agree.
So if you
Madam
like,
Clerk?
you have,
A blank column.
if you look at page 3,
Yes.
and a little bit toward the right side under principally commercial
Yes, yep,
is a
yep.
column listed as CB.
Yes, I put in ours right next to it,
Okay.
having them create a column that
Yes,
goes.
that,
So if-
exactly.
If you want to go down the list and
Yes.
decide,
Uh-huh.
And that, and that column then
All
would,
my little highlights, yeah.
would that
and
column-
It looks like Commissioner Benoit did too. And
I just reviewed it, there was only one thing that stood
and
out to me.
you've labeled that HCD,
yeah,
historic,
historic commercial district,
HCD.
historic commercial district, yeah. Is that okay?
No, I don't, yeah, that's fine. I just wanna make sure that I write that down correctly.
No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute, it's not that. Historic business district,
HBD.
yeah.
And that would be its own separate column.
Correct.
Any comments, Art?
No.
Okay.
Okay, you wanna flip over then to page 4 of 10?
Mm-hmm.
This is where we can find our land use things. And I'll just read the ones that I did.
Wait, hold it, wait.
Okay.
Why are we flipping, we're not gonna fill in here accessory, adult entertainment, agriculture, or none of those matter? Those are none
None
of
of
those.
those are things
okay.
we want.
So we've already blown
Okay,
through
okay,
three.
now wait. So I just want you guys to follow me. I'm just
Mhm,
gonna,
right.
I'm just gonna
I'm
say
fine.
what I've highlighted.
Okay.
There's going to be additions that you're probably gonna wanna make, and perhaps you're gonna say, no, I don't think that should be. So, beginning page 410, top of art gallery. I think an art gallery in the historic business district is just fine.
It's fine.
Then I come down. Business, retail, sales, and service. Just fine. And let me see, where do I have this?
So you're talking about
Center
not the industrial one, just business.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
make sure I get the right one.
And as the Sea Life Center is in our district,
That's what
as
I
we
was
go all
wondering.
the way to the bay, we've got Center Community Civic. So I was wondering if that would fit in there. I don't know, perhaps there's a better slot.
Well, I was looking up, it says attraction, permanent, major visitor.
That's it, that's it.
I saw that and I
Thank you.
immediately said Sea Life Center, so.
That's it. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ward. Okay. Okay,
So then,
so then the next one I have is church.
because there's a couple of churches in that area, isn't there?
Yeah, because we go up to Jefferson. However, I was thinking that we went over to Third Avenue so that we had Resurrection Art included,
Mhm.
but we don't. If you look at our little,
this as an aside, and I don't want to muddy the waters too much, but I went through the intro, and one of the things I think we need, as well as the graphic, we need a verbal description.
Exactly.
And
Well,
so-
there is one.
Okay,
We
well
do have one.
then that needs to go in here, because
Yes.
I noticed that was a big lack.
Yeah, we have
Okay,
one.
so let's go back to what we're
It's in
doing.
one of our past packets recently, December, November. Okay, so, church, then, page 5. Drinking establishment, i.e. bar, nightclub, lounge. That's perfectly viable in an historic district, because we had saloons. And we have them now. Okay, so then I marked dwelling apartment in a commercial building limited to 1 unit. I don't know about that.
Well, I know that isn't there, only because I have a friend that lives there, is the Osbo building.
Okay,
She lives
So,
above
okay.
her business.
all right,
That's
perfect.
just one example.
So then the next one
Wait,
is,
wait,
I
But
have, go
It's
ahead,
just
Commissioner
discussion.
Benoit.
Historically, there was tons of apartments and stuff over all those buildings on Fourth Avenue. For example, before they all
Right,
burned up.
but
So
this
it's
is
not like
limited,
this
but this
wasn't
is
part-
limited to 1 unit.
Rather than apartments.
So then the next one, if you look down, is dwelling apartment in a commercial building, 2 or more units. Well, that's Brown and Hawkins,
Yeah, Brown and Hawkins, definitely.
okay?
So both of those, you would
Yes.
put them.
I did. Now, again, we're gonna go through this slowly, so you guys get to have your input.
This
but
makes
right now-
perfect sense.
Okay, so then I come down, the next one I pick is financial institution, i.e. bank. Well, we have First National and it's historic. So it's in our district, so of course, that's gonna be one we choose.
It's right on the edge. Is that actually in the
No,
district?
it's not.
Oh, is
It's
it?
on the corner of Adams and Fourth, and we go up to Jefferson.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so anyway, then the next one I marked was grocery, convenience store. We don't have one yet, but on 6th Avenue, we used to have one years ago.
And wasn't there one where the Petro Marine building was at one time?
There
Wasn't that a
be several.
marketplace?
On Fourth Avenue.
Yeah.
for many
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So, I marked that one.
Okay, so where's the grocery
That's at the
convenience?
very bottom. And then on page 6, I marked health club. We have a current health club on 6th.
But we have one on Fifth too.
Fifth, that's what I mean. House rental on a nightly basis, we have that.
What was the last one that you did?
Housing rental on a nightly basis,
Thank you.
library. Then the next one down is lodging.
What? No chickens? Oh, sorry.
Not in 2022.
I want chicken.
Lodging, B&B, rooms, duplex, and accessory unit, I'm not sure about. It's the duplex that's throwing me. The next one is lodging, hotel, inn, and not a hostel,
No, that'd be different.
and not a motel. I don't know about lodge, but I do know lodging, hotel, and inn definitely fit. But lodging, I don't know. But definitely not motel. And then I come down to mobile vendor. And that I would like to see only on the 4th of July.
Isn't, sorry,
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, doesn't the Lutheran Church, and the only reason is because I go by it, doesn't the Lutheran Church have kind of
They sure do.
mobile
They sure do.
restaurant
They sure
right
do.
there? I understand they're good, but that would be the
Yep,
only
yep,
thing.
no, you're right, that's in our district. Okay, so that's gotta stand.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Plus, don't they have pop-ups? I know, there's a bento box group that pops up every now and again?
Here in our district?
Yeah, because I've gone down and eaten there.
Okay.
Because I like sushi and stuff like that. So there are some
Well,
what I would say
maybe we can
pop-ups.
qualify this, with permit
What I would call
required. What I don't wanna see is a whole bunch of,
Vendors lining the street.
Yes, yes.
But a pop-up, like I say, it's a bento box thing, and they advertise.
Yeah, that's cool. I just would like to see some sort of a permit,
Well,
so
let's-
we don't have a whole bunch, okay?
Right, so where is that, which one are you looking, mobile vendor, is
Yeah,
that what you're
mobile
looking
vendor.
at?
Uh-huh.
Maybe put a star by that, because we need to think about what we want with that, or what we would recommend.
Okay. Next one, museum.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay, now, I don't, yeah. So, office, home, professional.
Isn't there,
So we don't, you know,
I'm trying to think,
both charters are down in the
I don't think-
port. And office, business, or professional, we have the Petro, but it's not
don't we have a
historic.
doctor, there's a doctor?
And we have, we used to have Edward Jones, so that's a business, and the
And
bank
isn't
is
there-
a business.
Isn't there a
the-
doctor, a family practice down
Oh,
next to Thorns?
yeah, yes,
I just know that a family practice.
yeah. And we have, you know, another, yes. So that's I think that's a yes.
The
On that
office,
one.
home, and
Office,
professional.
business, or professional. Professional scares me because I think Petro building, but,
Well, they're not going anywhere, so.
well, no, I know, but we don't want
any
more.
more.
So we may want to drop professional. And, you know, not government, and not office, mobile, temporary on construction site, and office, home.
Yeah, I was wondering, home business, I would assume that means.
So that should be okay, but I'm gonna slash the professional.
So, well,
Okay, wait, go ahead.
Back up.
Or can you wait until we're through this and then we'll, because that's when, okay. So then turning the page to 7, parking lot. We have a parking lot at the Sea Life Center. But we don't want to have a whole bunch of parking lots around our area.
And does our, and I don't have the map right here, but isn't there a campground or a parking lot that becomes a campground further over?
Yeah.
Is that in our area or is that outside of our area?
No, that's still, 6th Avenue, that's still,
We might just want to check on that, double check.
we will, for sure, Sea Life Center, but that's not gonna count.
Right, there's Sea Life Center and then there's parking right in front of Zudi's.
Yes, but see, that's all, that's
See, that's
commercial,
all-
that's not campground.
Okay.
When I
It's-
think campground, I'm thinking the city campgrounds.
No, but you know, there's that, where you turn in, there's a,
RV parking.
yeah, there's RV
That's
parking and people camp
supposed to
there.
be, well, the only people that are allowed to camp there are the people that are volunteering for the summer at the Sea Life Center.
I thought.
And there's another one right next to it that
Yeah,
the city
there,
owns.
because I've had friends stay down there, that's why I asked. I've never camped down there, I've never owned an RV. I only have a little trailer.
It's right
tiny.
by mile 1,
Right.
or the
Mhm.
statue. and
Yeah, I
whatnot.
thought, because only
So
reason.
how did we get to camping from parking?
Well, no, but we were talking parking lot, but I
Yeah.
was like, what is the parking lot? Where's
Yes.
the boundary between the parking lot and the campground?
Yeah.
And
So you're-
is it within our proposed boundaries?
So you're
That's all.
saying that the city has a part of that parking lot is city-owned for camping?
No, it's separated. There's a little grass
There's a
divider.
grassy area, there's a berm.
And it's
And it's not
gravel.
parking lot. Exactly.
It's
That's what
gravel.
that's the one I
Yeah.
was referring to.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that was specifically wasn't in the district. Where the boundary is
Right.
there, in that area, I'm a little fuzzy on.
Yeah, okay, so the only parking lot permissible should be Sea Life.
Okay.
Because we don't want our area,
Yeah, well, we should say
be
that.
wasted with
I-
parking lot.
I think we say parking lot.
I know, I have Sea Life right
Yeah,
there.
dash Sea Life
Okay.
Center.
Personal services, beauty, shoe, tailor,
Mm-hmm.
duh. Then I come down to restaurant, food service, catering, group.
Can I make an interjection here? Can I
It
even-
depends.
Well, I was just gonna say, I was looking, planned unit development, we have the proposal.
Okay, when we're done with this, we're all gonna come back and discuss.
Okay, well, it was just, I didn't know if we should include that. It's not there yet, but it will be. They're talking about condos. on
We don't
top.
want that.
Okay, well,
We
I'm just
we
saying.
don't want condominiums in our area. At least that's my opinion.
Okay.
There's nothing historic about condominiums.
In the new arcade.
I think that's been reduced to like a couple of apartments.
Okay, well, that's curious.
Anyway,
You know more.
Not necessarily.
Are we gonna do, didn't they used to have bowling and skating in downtown?
They did. They did. They had a bowling alley where the Best Western is. And, so,
But there's,
yeah, okay.
just
Let's
keep going,
finish,
keep going,
and then
keep
we'll
going.
start from the beginning, and,
Keep going.
okay. So then I come down to restaurant, food service, catering, and brew pub. It's about just below half down.
Yep, got it.
And then the next one is theater, concert, movie. And that's it for what I've done. Now we can go back to the beginning.
A theater, concert, just definition, are you talking about Liberty?
Well, right now, the Liberty is not in the boundary that we've defined.
That's what I was wondering. What, do we?
I would like to see us extend it to third, but I believe, we did vote on our district, or boundary, did we not?
You made a motion, yes. You have a motion.
Yes.
To accept.
Yes,
What's already there, I think we thought that would be easier.
yep.
But
So we can
Liberty
add that
theater.
later, but you know, a theater can be put anywhere. We have, you know, Best Western has a blank parking lot that their guests are supposed to use, but it's way up the way. And it's on 6th Avenue, no, 6th, no. Where's the Best Western? It's on the Library Street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on
6th.
It's on Fifth.
It's on 5th.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyway, it's a blank parking lot that their guests never use. So, quite possibly if a millionaire came in and they wanted to create, you know, a bowling alley or a theater or a concert hall, they could do that.
They could.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
I don't think I understand actually what, okay, here's my understanding. You have the downtown historic overlay district that you approved to match the
boundary.
boundaries. You have the design guidelines that you're developing and
Yes.
continue to develop. And those design guidelines will fit inside those boundaries, or they'll fit everywhere in Seward?
No, they will fit in, all we're dealing with is what's
Yeah.
in our boundary.
Okay, so help me understand what you're trying to accomplish with this list of the land use.
A land use table for us,
To-
for our column.
But I know, but I don't understand how it's gonna be used. Are you proposing that things that are currently allowed outright in this area are no longer allowed?
No.
So I don't
In fact, much
understand.
of this list is places that that already exist, like the health club. You know, no.
Yeah.
No. And I can't think of anything right now maybe another commissioner will, that wouldn't fit, you know, that we would say, no, you can't be in this area.
I'm not sure, I just don't understand why you need to have a column in the land use table.
Why? Why don't you understand
When
that?
Well, no, but I
When you
think,
have the design guidelines as an overlay for this.
The design guidelines and standards,
Not in here.
this is suggestive.
what
What
I,
we're doing is we want in the land use table that planning and zoning has created.
Yeah.
We want our column, so that when they're looking at permits, or they're looking at people
Conditional
that want to,
permit.
yeah, or any kind, you know, any kind of development, they have to look at our column and what we want as land use.
I mean, I think the way I would look at it, Brenda, and the way I do look at it, is what this says is these are the kinds of things you would expect to be in a historic district. So if somebody comes to us and says, you know what, I'd really like to build a 3-story animal shelter, and I've got this great building, it has fish all over it, but I can convert it, which is the Ellsworth building right smack in the middle of the road, you know, the block, we would say, go through this, an animal shelter is not really a business we would consider for the historic area. That's all. I think that's it. What it does is it gives planning and zoning some guidance, because there's going to be a lot of creative people that have these really great ideas, and those buildings are kind of cool. That's the only way I
They
look
don't
at it.
fit.
But that's not really something you'd want. I would want chickens.
And
I'm a big proponent of chickens, but it's probably not appropriate for the downtown historic business district.
thank you.
As much as I like chickens.
And Madam Clerk, you know, my fellow commissioners are probably going to come up with more that they want to choose, but I did try to think through when I was choosing these
Yeah.
existing businesses, so that, no, we're not excluding what is already there.
Right.
But the idea is to get us in, to get the historic business district is now in the zoning district designation, is in the land use table. And, you know, there's another one that Risi Casa Grande talked to me about, and I think it's on page 8 and 9, where you talk about what you can do in it, the setbacks.
Right.
You know, all of the things.
Yes.
So for example, if I buy my property, you know, and I look at it, the first thing I do is go to this column, see what I can do. I go to that second group, and it says I have to put my building here, 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 and here.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to get in the record.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
I'm
please,
not trying to
please.
be argumentative, I'm just really trying to understand what you're trying to
No, be
accomplish.
proactive that way.
So, the design guidelines would dictate the look of a structure. Let's
Correct.
say we're gonna build I'm gonna build something new.
Correct.
So I would refer to the design guidelines and make a new construction fit into the atmosphere of
Yes.
the environment. But why do you care what kind of business I run out of there?
Because I don't want a strip club in our historic downtown district.
But,
I mean,
who's playing
why?
devil's advocate,
I know there used to
that's
be.
a personal opinion, because there probably used to be, so
There
why
were.
do we get to
There
decide?
were, however,
I guess that's what
that doesn't fit our moral compass in 2022. Some things kind of changed. We can keep the flavor, but we don't have to keep
So-
the behavior.
I'm looking at the list and there's a there's a marine retail, like I can sell
So-
marine things. Business, marine retail sales and service is currently allowed outright in the central business district. If I built a new building and it looked like a cool old building that fit in, and
So,
I'm gonna sell boat parts, I don't understand.
well, that's kind of like mechanically commercial. So maybe if they're doing it out of the back in the alley, but, you know, they're not going to do engines and things as such, you know?
I didn't say repair.
No, she
You know,
just said,
but no,
if I
they
wanted
can
to
even
buy a
buy-
sailboat, if I want to buy great gimbal lamps that are brass, which you can buy to put in a sailboat.
Well, that's
That-
fine.
yeah.
But not engines. And that's marine. But anyway, Madam Clerk, you're jumping the gun. All we were doing
No, I
at
think
this
this is a
point,
good question.
it is a good question. All of these comments are good.
Okay.
We began this by my saying, we were just gonna go through and talk about what I had chosen, and then we were gonna come back to the very beginning so that each of you, all of us, could discuss.
See, here's the question. I'm sorry, because again, I think what you've done is really good, but this may address the concern that the clerk has raised, is that the code that you put in our column, one is use permitted outright, the other one is requires a conditional use permit, so you could in fact, I mean, these are businesses that we consider appropriate outright. Others may require these permitted, so
Yes.
there's a code for that.
So
So if you want a marine, if I want chickens, I can ask for a conditional use permit to get my chickens and sell eggs out of a store.
What I'm
I'm sorry, I just did the
suggesting
chicken.
is that, what I'm suggesting
Yes.
is that
I see.
inside the realm of historic preservation, you have the design guidelines that is in your wheelhouse. And outside of that, this is planning and zoning's area to say what types of businesses are allowed in which zone.
That's true.
Yes.
But we can go through this was our plan,
Yeah.
based on what Risi Casagandra generously gave to Commissioner Ward.
But this is
This
where,
is what kicked off everything, and what we want because when we went through with planning and zoning, Rissy's possible, cell tower on historic properties that we were trying to keep her from buying, they had a checklist. And now they have this planning use table. And I believe we need to have a column in there.
Right.
We need to be at their table.
But basically, now that we go through the table, we've identified the ones that we probably put an O in front of. So I'm looking at the key here. So we would identify the ones that we've highlighted are the ones that we as the Historic Preservation Commission can get behind and say, permit these without any discussion. However, the person that wants chickens we may need to require a conditional use permit that says you could have chickens but no roosters because they make a lot of noise.
Right.
So again, we could in fact go through here and say, color code it differently. So C would be on some other businesses that would give that control to planning and zoning.
Like maybe this marine shop. We would limit it to, okay, you can do whatever you want to do, but please don't try to sell engines.
It's really interesting. It says apartment dwelling studio. That's got a C in front of it, and that requires a conditional use permit. And that's in the historic business district. So, most of these, I think, if you look down through this, most of these, other than the ones that we have highlighted, will have a C in front of them. That if you want a studio apartment and build it in the commercial business district, you're going to have to make a commercial or a conditional use permit and apply to planning and zoning. There are carve-outs for it.
But we would like to have our column, and they have to consult our column too. All of this has to do through the proper steps, which we will be doing through planning and zoning. And then ultimately, they and council have to approve this. But at this point, let's just start with all the commissioners being able to give input on each of these items. Sound good? Okay. Art gallery.
I think that's an outright permit.
Assemblages, temporary, I'm sorry, Commissioner Benoit.
I just wanted to comment. When I looked at this, I kind of took a different tact. Actually,
Okay.
the opposite of what you did. You looked there and said, which ones would I want to pick and put in here? I looked at it and thought, the majority of the historic district is already in the commercial business district, so I looked at that column and said, assuming that most of the stuff's already in here, it's already being allowed or not according to this column, what would I change to be different because it's historic? So instead of looking at each one from scratch, I kind of looked at it like, what would I do different? Because these are things that are already allowed. There's already existing businesses. And also considering what kind of things were in the past happening in the historic district, even if we don't have them now. And also try to remember that regardless of my personal opinions about anything, I have to be objective. So that's what I did. And so I kind of looked through here and thought, well, there's hardly anything in here that I would say, no way should you do that in historic. The cell towers were one thing I thought I wouldn't want to see because we already had that issue before. But most of these things, previously in history, they had these types of businesses.
They also had a ferry terminal. We don't have a ferry terminal anymore.
So anyway, all I'm saying is my tact was looking at like, why would you change, what would you do different than what's already there? I just think we'd get more buy-in if instead of totally changing it, we just really concentrated on what things are really important to change from what's already allowed. So
why don't we begin at the list and work our way through it?
So I guess my thought would be, if we're going to begin at the top of a list, why not just look at the commercial business district and go through and go, Of what's allowed now, what would we change? Why would we change it? That's all I wanted to say.
Well,
about it.
I believe it would be more simple to launch from by going through this list and seeing what we agree with.
Yep, look at all the things.
Yeah, well,
And then, you know, if the central business district has the same code that we agree with, fine, we agree with it. There's no argument, there's no change.
yeah, but see, here's my take on it, and I'm sorry, I keep going back to this, but I mean, there are things here that we might want to put a Z, and you have to go back to this code. I would suspect most of the things, even in the historic column, are going to be O or conditional use. So there's nothing going to be banned
Really?
from the downtown district, but
A cluster subdivision?
golf course. But if you want to put a golf course in the downtown business district, you better have a good reason to go before planning and zoning to get a conditional use permit. That's the process.
You're talking commercial business district, I'm talking historic business district.
I am still talking historic business district. Maybe you get historic golf carts. I don't know, but what I'm saying is, you don't ban things from downtown, but what you do is you determine the kind of permit. There's part of the process is giving planning and zoning the control to look at the application and make that determination.
That's what I
Well,
was
then
kind of thinking.
why bother doing any of this then?
Because as historic preservation, we're going to write down what we think is important, and hopefully they will use that.
I think we
in
could
their
take this
determination.
list and probably some of the things that say, oh, use permitted outright, we might say if it's historic, maybe we'd like to change that to conditional.
Right, so that planning and zoning looks at all the options for, I want to keep the control with planning and zoning. It really falls in their purview. But I look at that column as our input to planning and zoning, so that when the conditional use permit comes to them, they can look and they say the Historic Preservation Commission has indicated they would like this to be permitted outright, or they have indicated they want this to be conditional use, so we need to follow that recommendation. That's how I look at it, so that you can't just look at this as an either or, you have to look at the key.
And the conditional, if it said C, that could tie to standards and guides that
Right.
we're working on. Because if they're thinking, okay, well, it could be conditional under certain conditions, like what are the conditions? And that's where we tie
Then
to our
part of the
document.
conditions that we have to review the guidelines. It could be a little bit more of a control. I don't know. We haven't, one of the things that, and again, we talk about the guidelines, but even this commission has not determined how strong we want to make them. We have, at least to this point, have talked about them as guidelines, that we would give them out to people, and if they're going to redo their building, this would be a good way to do it. This is going to be a whole lot more restrictive. And so I just want to make sure that we leave it with planning and zoning with our recommendations. Our recommendations.
I would really like to start at the top and go through this. Cluster subdivision is on here, and it has no business in a historic
Then
business
what you
district.
do is you leave it blank. That's part of the key. We also have an animal
So,
shelter.
Right now, we just could put
It's
a
left blank.
line through it
Yeah, it's
as
just left.
something we don't want in.
Well, blank means use is prohibited.
Yeah, blank means it's prohibited.
So for us, blank on this
Is
you think
prohibited.
That's part of this legend, it says blank. means
I
it's
understand,
not
but
allowed.
right now we have this list. So, cluster subdivision, I'm gonna write big line through it, which means blank.
See, I would rather do a extra column and go through and do an O, a P, a C, a D. I'd rather use the key that's there,
Yeah.
rather
That's-
than,
Right now, it's already prohibited, so.
yeah, by having it blank, it doesn't have to be erased, because it's not, when they look at this is for Seward. This is for Seward, not just the commercial business district. So we want to be a part of this chart.
This is the commercial business.
but our column is part of the chart.
I hope so.
Well, that's what we're asking for. So I think we use their key
Yeah.
to be a
exactly.
part of.
I'm not arguing using their key. I am totally in agreement with that.
Okay, so you start accessory building, we leave it blank. Adult entertainment, it's intentionally left blank. Agency and travel, it's left blank. I put a line down and I made my own column. Now I can go through and fill that in.
They have zeros, they have zero, O's in them.
Yeah, some
Accessory
of them are.
building and agency travel
Some of them are permitted.
have O's in them.
In the commercial business district.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the historic business district, we can put it blank.
Oh, is that what you wanted?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. What is the difference? And that's what you were talking about, Marianne. What is the difference between the historic business district and the commercial business district?
Exactly, that's why I just thought we should.
And that's what you were
focus
just
on.
saying.
How about Art? Art hasn't said anything.
Oh, he's
Well,
afraid.
I'm trying to catch up, and I'm almost there. Going back to page 3 here, for example, agency, right? I would think in our column, we would say that is a 0. 'Cause that's going to be in an office, right? Travel
Use
agency.
permitted outright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, where are we? I mean, I
Yeah.
know we're on page 3. but
yeah.
what
Agency,
part?
travel, insurance, title, real estate. So you
Well,
could put a real estate office downtown.
My suggestion is we start from the top and we look at each thing and say, okay, in the commercial business, it's allowed. Do we like this or not? And if not, why? Do we want to make it, and if not, do we want to make it conditional or not allowed? And just kind of.
Yeah,
each
that's kind of what I was
don't
thinking.
like
Yeah.
it blank.
Leave it blank. Use their key.
Yeah, it's prohibited.
yeah. And I think like you said,
Yeah,
Marion,
exactly.
our column's over here, let's see, on the far right.
Right, and it should say
Yeah.
HBD, Historic Business District.
Because also, I think if we're going to make recommendations for a column, we need to have this discussion in the open for everyone to hear, like, why don't we like that?
Mhm.
We can't just go, no.
Well, I think I was giving reasons.
No, you are. I'm just
No,
saying,
no, but-
I'm just saying,
And
I
I
think
opened it
that's
up
good
for all
for
of
the.
us. Yes,
I think-
Commissioner Lemaster.
So on page 3, I've got a 0, which is right, under agency.
So that's outright permitted.
Exactly. The others are left blank.
What, can we start from the top, like accessory building?
I don't know what an accessory building
I don't
is.
either, so we should
A
talk
shed.
about that.
Is that a shed?
I mean, that's some, I'm sure it can be other things than that, but a shed.
So, do we have a problem, people having sheds?
Does, Brown and Hawkins, behind it, they have a little building. Would that be considered an accessory building?
It seems like there's sheds all over the place in the historic district for all kinds of places, like,
Well, there's
we
add-ons
say
and,
no.
there's add-ons and things, where people add it on over time. I don't
But
know
that's
that's.
not an accessory
Yeah,
building.
that's why I think, you're not talking about the little.
The little red building
Right,
behind
I
it?
think
What's
that's just a
that?
shed. I think it's
Okay.
just something that's been in the alleyway for quite some time. I've never seen it or been in it, but I know
No,
it's there.
Right, me too. But that would be considered an accessory building.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I'd be okay with the accessory
too.
building in the historic district. Does
Me
anyone
too.
think that's like with bad use?
Yeah, but I would think it would be a C.
yeah, conditional use
Yeah.
permit, so, because we don't want like a cargo trailer.
Right, but they could,
And
they would
and we
have,
don't want a funky shed.
Yeah, if it's done right.
So if it's
well,
not a
and then
Yeah.
something like that, it does talk about accessory buildings, they don't call it accessory buildings, but add-ons in the guidelines.
But that's not a commercial, that's not an accessory building, it's an add-on. That's different. It's been attached to the building.
So should we just say C for this, because we want the look of it to
Right.
fit in with the guidelines?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, yay,
C.
we got one done, woo!
Hey.
How about adult, well, I
Well,
guess
everybody.
all of them are,
Apparently, that's not allowed by anybody.
Yeah.
That's not allowed by anybody.
that's funny.
At any
because
level.
Originally, it was the city council that designated the red light district. So, I guess back then it was okay.
Was that back on Third though?
That was over where the Ray building is right now.
Yeah, that's third.
The Mary Lowell's
Third
homestead
isn't
used to
part
be-
of our district that we've,
Down
the
at the-
boundary that we voted on.
Okay.
And a Second
So
Avenue,
we'll just leave that
the lower
blank.
end, the Second.
Yes,
Avenue.
thank you.
I'm just
We're
playing
not gonna
devil's
redesignate the
advocate.
line. We're not gonna redesignate the line. Okay, we recommend.
Okay, so agriculture is
No, wait.
prohibited now, so.
Agent-
We
Agency?
did an agency, i.e. travel, insurance, title, real estate. That should be okay, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't Nicole have hers down there already? She had a real estate office down there.
So that,
Okay,
that's,
so how do you, which one of these says, oh, use permitted outright, okay, oh, got it.
yeah.
Yeah, so-
Sorry, I was seeing permitted and thought, okay.
So agriculture is currently not prohibited. Do you see any reason that it should be or allowed in the historic district?
No.
No.
So just leave it.
So
How
that's
about
blank.
airport? Are we wanting an airport in the historic district?
No,
Okay, leave it for
Blank.
blank. How about amusement or recreation facility? It's currently allowed.
well, you have on Fifth, you have, you know, the Reds. That's a health center, so that could be considered a recreation facility.
And, you know,
Amusement or recreation facility, again, you know,
That
that's
seems like a
that
bowling
blank
alley.
lot, exactly,
bowling alley.
exactly.
Something like used
Or
to be here.
theater, you know, yeah,
So I would say that could be an O.
yeah.
Okay. the
Animal
next one-
shelter, blank.
So keep that blank.
Antenna, personal TV satellite, blank.
yep,
Okay, so let's think about this. This
we
says,
had that
Okay,
fight
now wait,
already.
now
this
wait.
says,
We did.
this says antenna, personal TV satellite dish. So if somebody wanted, I'm just thinking out loud, if somebody wanted to have a satellite dish, and they could do it on the building in a way that you didn't see
It's
it
addressed
looking.
in here.
It is addressed
You
in
have to
here.
do a
It is
setback,
addressed in
It has to
here.
be
you set,
hidden,
you
right?
do a setback
Has to be
from
hidden.
the street, so it cannot be seen from the street.
So it seems to me that what that
Conditional
means
use
is
permit?
that
I
should
would-
be conditional, because it would have to meet
Okay,
visual guidelines, right?
okay.
I think any of the things that we do, like with conditional use, unless it's real obvious, these would probably end up being referred to.
Yeah.
I think that that's a good use of these.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Art gallery. Oh. If you guys agree.
Oh, there's a couple of them on there already, really.
Yeah, agreed, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know,
Assemblages.
assemblages, temporary, large, i.e. circus fair, that should be blank, shouldn't it?
Well, it says here, like in, right now, the commercial district is, it requires a permit. I guess it would just depend, like, it requires a permit, is there a reason why you would not want to have people be able to gather in the historic district?
Well,
It's
they
not
do
like
on the
they're gonna
4th of July,
affect the
but this, but a
Could you set
circus-
up, could you block off Fourth Ave and set up a circus?
No.
I'm just asking.
How are you gonna get the Ferris wheel in there?
I mean, you know, the Music and Art Festival got put out on 4th Avenue this year.
What was that?
We have 4th of July.
Exactly.
The Music and Art Festival is out there, so we're already doing that.
I
On the
think
4th of July, yes.
it's a P.
It's a
P?
P, permit required.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then if we had something to say about the historic district related to that, we should make a note, put it on the standards and guides, like, is there any reason we'd want to have any input about a permit like that? I don't know. And if there is, we should have it in our document.
No, we'll come back to that.
Okay. So we've already done, we put the sea life because that's an obvious attraction, permanent major visitor. So that's an O, is that right?
They call it C, but I don't know why that's a C, but
I think it's an O in our
we can put
district.
it, we can put it a O, Sea Life Center.
Auditorium. So like the Ray Building, Commissioner and Master.
What about a new though, right, that's existing.
What's, I'm sorry, what if,
The Sea Life Center's existing,
I know. That's why I
But
said
it could
O.
be something else. What if it's some,
yeah.
what if Disneyland wants to build a Matterhorn, you know, in a vacant lot? I'm
When
just
you
throwing
say
it out.
auditorium, an auditorium could be something very small and intimate. We're just making
Wait,
assumptions.
we've backed up, we're back up to attraction major event visitor. Is that an O or a C?
I think it should be a C because it depends on where and what.
Yeah, I think it's a C.
Okay. C.
Now we're back to the auditorium.
Which meets with what they're already doing anyway.
Right. I think most of these will.
Okay, so auditorium. Commissioner Benoit, you say, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge building like the Ray building. It can be a small, intimate.
Yeah, I mean, an auditorium, like, an auditorium is just a place to gather people to sit and watch something.
Like a theater,
Right.
except that it's not an auditorium. Theater's on here.
So, I mean, right now, it's allowed. It's an O for commercial business, so is there a reason we would not want that to happen
It depends.
in the historic district?
That's why it might be a C.
Yeah, I think it's a C
So
because.
when you say, because it depends on like how big it is and what it's
Yeah.
gonna look like?
Yeah, and what's it gonna be, and you know, where is it gonna be?
I think with auditoriums, a lot of times there's some acoustical stuff that happens, like in a theater or stage. Parking becomes an issue.
Okay, so should we put C?
I would
Just
say
because that's kind of a complex thing that could bring in many things that could affect the district? Okay.
Hopefully.
Auto repair is not allowed, so,
Thank you.
and, oh, there's a whole column right coming
Yep.
up,
All
and
the
none of
way-
those things, so.
Yeah,
Bulk material.
Is there any reason to say we'd like to see some of those things in the historic district?
no.
I can't see anything that makes me go, yes, please, we want that.
Okay, but now, okay, I've come down to business, marine, retail, sales, and service, which Madam Clerk brought up. So, conditional use permit, in my opinion, if we were to allow this, because seriously, I don't think engines, you know, there's boat engines, that's part of marine service and sales.
So what's the problem if somebody we're selling boat engines out of a historic building?
Well, I had boat engines in my garage. My garage was an engine repair
what's the
shop.
problem? If it's in a historic building and selling something,
You
and
know,
they're
the
not
only
doing-
thing-
hurting the historic building.
Well, the
what's
only
problem?
thing that I would worry about with engine repair, and because I can speak to this, is if you have spillage.
Okay.
We
So that would be
had
the
some,
service part.
you know, my garage was Major Marine's engine repair shop. And we've got some stuff on the cement floor that we're not sure what that was.
So maybe this one could be like a C, like if somebody who's just wanting to sell stuff at some kind of
Exactly.
retail store, but
Exactly.
if you don't like the idea of
Engines.
service.
Well, put a C. Again, that
Yeah,
conditional
that's
use
what I was
permit
thinking.
allows you to review the process.
And make conditions.
Mhm.
Business packaged liquor.
It's
To me,
there.
that should be an O. What?
It's there now.
Pardon me?
Yeah, it's
It
already-
exists, right?
At Tony's.
Yeah, I mean, it's already allowed.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah,
would
I
we
know,
say
that's
no?
what I was
She
saying,
said
it's an
O.
O.
She said an O.
N-O, not N-O, but A-O.
It's an O, it's an O. So it's allowed, so we're
Yeah.
saying yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And business, retail, sales, and service, to me, is an O. It exists, it's always existed. Business, retails, and service industrial, no, in my opinion.
Yeah, all these are blank here. Campground, camper park, employee
Park, boat
campground.
watch,
No
cemetery.
Cemeteries are not allowed.
Okay, so the next one that I had a question about was center community civic.
Right now, that's allowed. Do we have a community civic center? So what's that, like the senior center?
No.
You
Like the
know-
Ray building, no, it's not even the Ray building, is it?
The Seward Commercial Club, which is now Sweet
Which
Darlings,
was,
it is
yeah,
now Sweet Darlings.
yeah.
That was originally the business
so
chamber
was-
of commerce.
Exactly.
Should we do,
So I think
should
that.
we do?
So historically, it's been down there.
Yeah.
So should
Gosh, how much
we
we
do a
learn.
C, just to make sure it's like, you know, what we're talking about?
Sure.
And us some whoops, you know,
Well, I mean, if somebody had like some kind of community civic center or some community gathering place in a historic building downtown, what's the problem?
there's not.
Then, oh,
The only problem to me is if somebody's like, I want to tear down these bunch of historic buildings and make
Uh-huh.
a big civic center.
Exactly.
So,
C.
See,
okay.
okay.
Mariner Center, kind of the same thing, it's just for sailors.
Blank. Center, senior or teen. That is presently in the senior center, which is outside of our boundary.
Is it?
Yes, it's on Third.
So going back, what did we say for Mariner Center?
Where are we?
I
Where's
missed that
Mariner?
It's
discussion.
between, yes, community civic, and
That
it's
is,
above senior and teen.
is currently allowed a Mariner Center.
Well, wait, where are we?
The center, Mariners, it's right under the community civic center that we were talking
Okay,
about.
okay, so that's a ways.
And a Mariners, a center is currently allowed in the business district, so I'm not even sure exactly
here.
what that is.
Yeah, show me. Oh, right, okay.
Like the Siemens
Senator.
mission or something?
Okay, but Siemens Mission is, I see you're saying like. Well, there's a Mariner Center down in the port.
Right. One of
Why don't
the,
we just leave it in the port?
one of the things that I was going to
But
say,
I guess the question is, why would you say yes or no? Like, we need to have a reason to give it a designation.
Because
one,
it already exists in the port.
but one of
There's other
the,
things that are down there that exist, are we gonna say, no, we're not gonna allow that in the historic district because it already exists somewhere else? It should be free enterprise, people can, you know,
Okay, so give me an example then of a Mariner Center.
I'm not even sure what
one
it
of the
is.
things that I know that Michelle Cabo was planning to do with that, where that guy used to have his resale store, that little tiny building, right there on Railway between Brown and Hawkins and the corner
Washington.
building.
That's Washington.
Yeah, oh, is it Washington? Sorry. On Washington. One of the ideas that she floated at one point was to turn that into kind of a teen center, a place for kids to come.
Yeah, well, it exists.
I know, but what I'm saying is that was a plan, even though that already existed, she was thinking about doing it in that building since they couldn't get it rented. I could see where somebody wants to put in a place for mariners to, you know, when they come downtown, you know, anyway, I guess I'm kind of like you. I don't see any reason to limit that as long as the building is intact.
Plus, we can't really say, oh, because there's already something here. Nobody else
there's
could
a
ever
whole-
start that someplace else, because that's
Commissioner
basically
Lemaster?
limiting
I
the
think,
business, which we can't do.
we kind of set a tack here where we said community center, auditorium, right? If you follow the logic, I would think of, I don't know, a center marina would be a C.
Yeah, conditional use.
Yeah, that's what I
We're
was
not
thinking.
saying no, but have it reviewed.
Yes,
Well, and-
yes, that's what I think.
Okay.
And that's just following the logic that we've established from above.
So the
Way to be
center.
logical.
So the senior teen center would probably be the same kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think all of those,
Okay.
rather than, oh, we would like it reviewed. Childcare, like it reviewed.
Okay, so our historic business district, this is just thinking out loud, doesn't need graffiti, and it doesn't need a bunch of cigarette butts, and it doesn't need a bunch of, I'm sorry, you know, rebellious teens. And I don't know about childcare, that's, I mean,
Well, I would
it's
put it
not
all
even- what
conditional
are we-
use.
What, you know,
I'm pretty sure historically, there was probably a bunch of rebellious teens, and there was probably
well,
cigarette
no, I'm
butts and all that kind of
sure,
stuff.
I'm sure.
I think
But there's, it's, already out of our, what I'd like to see protected area, historically protected.
But see, I don't see limiting businesses as protecting the history. I see, I'm happy.
No, I mean
I'm happy to have it conditional use.
The people that are paying to preserve their buildings as historic, I don't.
Then I wouldn't put a child care center in there.
Yeah,
But that's not up to me to make that decision. That would be up to the business owner, and if they decided they wanted to do child care.
except that the business owner is going to have this to consult,
Right.
through planning and zoning.
Right, but
So
it's,
far, I'm just not hearing a good enough reason to say no.
right, the conditional use allows it to be reviewed. That's how I look at it. I don't think it's up to us to say no.
I mean, we have to think, how does this affect the historic building or the
Exactly.
historic character? It's nothing to do with our personal opinion
Right,
about what kind of business we want to see or don't want to see. It has to be related to
But
that.
we have to think about the business.
no, it's not our
Let's go
job
at
to
the
do
end.
that, as long as the
That's
business.
what we're going through this, deciding and putting codes to.
But if somebody has a historic building and they decide they want to put a teen center in there, that's their right.
Yeah, if
It's not my job to say no. The only thing I'm gonna say is please protect the building. And here's your guidelines, make sure that happens.
Conditional use permit, I'll
That-
go along with that.
Most of these, I really see that we can't do that. Unless it's, we want to revise the line. We can't do it. Certain things. And maybe chickens won't make the cut.
And even still, we have to consider, okay, say, I forget.
Pushing for chicken.
For example, child care license center. If somebody wanted to do child care in a historic building, I guess I'm, following the same logic. That's like, if they're taking care of the building and that's the business they want to do, why do we even want to say conditional? Like, what's the reason for us?
Okay, so
We shouldn't be going, well, I don't know if I like child care, so I'm gonna.
No, think about it not just inside the building. Is the downtown historic business district a place for a child care center? Think about all the kids that are gonna be coming outside, because they won't be inside the building the whole time. Now put it in the summer, when we have all of our tourists down here looking for businesses.
I just don't see that as our job
Yeah.
to limit the business. I just
Me
don't
either.
see that.
Yeah.
It may not be something that you personally want to see, but I don't see how it's our job to say
It's like
that.
parking lot. It's like a building that requires parking has to be considered.
Sure, I think the main thing is that they care for the building and maintain.
Yeah, they maintain the building. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Regardless of what
If
you
they
put in
buy
it.
They
So-
take care of it.
So is this a C, or or you're saying it's an O?
Like, right now, child care center in the
I've
business
got it down
district
as a
is
C.
O.
C is a good compromise.
Okay.
You want to make sure they know they have to maintain. To me, it's like Zooties. If Zooties was a child care instead of a great restaurant.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
maintain the building.
Yeah.
Well, that would make more sense to me then.
Yeah.
Okay. Child care licensed home. So,
I don't know exactly what the difference between a center and a home is, unless it's just in somebody's private home.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
and,
So would that still be a C
Yeah.
well,
with the rest of them?
okay, so on this one, I'm gonna say an O. The reason I'm gonna say an O is because we have houses on 6th Avenue.
Ah,
But that's just,
I mean, the cable house would make a terrific child care center if Pongy and Martella wanted to do that. So it's in the district, so yeah, I think I could agree with that.
Commissioner Benoit?
That's fine. I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to make sure that our logic is consistent. Like a whole bunch of these things we said C, I kind of feel like, why aren't they O's? And then we get to something, it's like, well, I kind of like the way that sounds, so we'll give that an O. I feel like we're we're allowing our personal
But there's a-
opinions to creep in here.
Okay, but Commissioner Benoit, the difference between a child care licensed center and a child care licensed home are different.
That's why I
One's
asked
at a
that,
home
yeah.
and one's at a,
In a-
And we have a lot of
Commercial
homes on Sixth, and
That
that's
could be
in our
converted
boundary.
easily. I
And
could
that-
go
that's-
either way.
It's different.
well, what difference does it make if somebody puts a childcare center in a, like,
In Brown and Hawkins.
in like Brian Hawkins compared to somebody's house on Fifth Avenue? Who cares? It's the same business, they're both historic. I
No,
don't get
it's
it.
not the same.
Why?
Because the amount of kids, the size, the building, it's much, a commercial building is different than a house.
Yeah, but I think we're about the building though.
Yeah, we have to stay focused on the building
Yeah,
itself.
So
our
to me,
deal is the building.
Not the
like-
business, but the building.
But I like C for the reasons Commissioner Lemaster said, just to make sure they're aware of what they need to do with the building. They can't put a merry-go-round on top of it, for example, from the street view.
But wouldn't they, so if, for example, we have a column that's historic business district, and even if it says O, meaning it's allowed, just the fact that it is in this column of historic business district kind of implies that you are working and following the standards and guidelines listed in this document. So it's not like, you don't know, and you can do anything. It's in the historic business district, so you're supposed to be following the guidelines.
But
And then this is just saying, yes, you can do that, but you still need to follow the standard guidelines. Or you have to get a permit under certain conditions you can do this. But, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's implied that you still follow the standards and guides because it's in this column. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't agree, not on the child care license center or child care licensed
Well,
home.
I'm not
I mean, it would
sure,
have to be for all
So
of
it's
them.
C and O, because they're two different things, in my opinion.
there we are. Well, I would just say, I kind of have some concerns about childcare in general, having dealt with the licensing issues. You know, I'm not sure any of our buildings, our historic buildings would in fact qualify
Legally,
for the licensing, because they have to be safe, there's certain things that go into place, so. But if somebody wants to do it, I'm happy for them to give it a shot.
as a C.
That's fine.
But
I can live
for
with
me, I do think it's okay for a home to have childcare. The number of children is much smaller than a child care
That's all down
center.
to the licensing people. It's all very clearly defined.
Yeah,
It's very clearly defined what you can and can't do in terms of
So
childcare.
then why are we trying to make a determination based on the number of kids on this?
Right. My attitude is I would make them O's, and then whoever buys that property can take on the licensing people and let the licensing people decide.
no, I don't agree. C on the center and O on the home.
Can we vote on it?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Somebody
We
wants
can't
to make
vote
a
during-
motion?
No, we
Oh.
can't do that during the work session.
Well, let's just move
Right
on
now,
because
the
we're
work
running
session-
out, we're running out of
Yeah.
time.
Okay, let's just make a note and we'll vote on that later.
Yes,
Okay. So the next one was the church and everyone was like,
That's a
oh.
O.
yeah. Clinic, medical, like
I-
Commissioner Ward pointed out, we've already got a small medical office,
Excuse
so
me,
that's an
guys.
O.
I'm hung up on the logic, and I went back and thought about this thing.
Are we the childcare
Yeah, we're-
ones? Is that where you were referring?
No, church,
Oh.
the church.
Oh, the church, okay.
Yeah, if somebody wants to put in, buy a historical building and convert it into a contemporary,
Oh,
I'll say gym, right?
oh,
A lot of new churches are like
Yeah.
multi-use, they're like gyms.
yeah.
You can set them up for service, you can set them up for, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And the same holds true for the business, packaged liquor, and business retail sales and service.
Okay, are you back up on top?
Yeah, I'm just,
No, he's just, you're talking about the logic.
the logic, I'm following the logic, right? And we're focused on the building, not what, right?
So what are you saying, that all those things should be conditional? So
I think they're conditional.
Okay, so you're
To
saying
protect the
conditional
building.
on the church.
Yeah, it's about the building.
Protect the
Okay,
building.
that's fine, and then you went up to, what, the liquor? Where
Yeah.
were you?
Yeah, we had them both as O's, right?
Yes,
And if it's, to me, it's gotta be a C.
okay,
In that case,
I'll agree.
doesn't that apply to every single thing in the
Yeah,
column?
pretty much.
We have said open or O.
Well,
With that logic, it
Would-
seems
would
like
it- would it-
anything could be changed.
we'd have to look at the particular.
That's why I was
Yeah.
saying that if you figure that being in the column, that because it's in the historic business district implies already that you're following the standard guidelines, then you don't have to make everything a C, because you already are following that.
Right.
except
And
that,
then you're just going with C or O based on other concerns besides those.
except that the commission's agreed, this is gonna be a guideline. This is something that we want planning and zoning to go by. They don't necessarily have to go by this.
Yeah. We're hoping they will, but they don't have, there's nothing to compel anyone to use that.
Which makes me think maybe we should take standards off that title.
I'm fine with that.
But
How about, let's stick to here.
Yeah, that's another discussion, but I did on mine.
Would you, oh, okay. So, yeah, I just,
They were guidelines.
If that's what we're gonna choose to do, then that's exactly right.
Okay, let's come back here though.
okay,
Okay, so now we're talking, Art, you brought us back up to asking to designate a C for business package liquor. So this is a business with liquor, not just packaged liquor? Or is this simply packaged liquor, and how do you see that? Because if there was a convenience store, there's nothing to say they can't sell liquor. And we've already said, we've already placed an O to a convenience store.
Yeah, but our concern is the building. Right?
You're staying focused on the building.
On the
Okay,
building.
but Tony's, doesn't Tony's sell liquor?
Yep,
Packaged liquor?
it does.
It's a package store and a
It's a
bar.
package store in
Two separate.
a historic building called the Palace Building.
So it's already there.
Yeah, but this is new, right?
Yeah, this is
That-
if
that-
somebody buys
they're-
thorns.
they're
What if
grandfathered.
somebody buys thorns and then wants to convert it into a package store? I mean, you have to
And
look,
I know somebody who just actually bought.
Oh, really?
I'm not gonna say it.
Are they Rotary?
Maybe.
I would assume, yes.
Okay, sorry.
I'm glad Florence
Okay,
is fine.
so are we all agreeing on a C for a business package liquor because we're thinking about a future?
Sure, I just think the point being is that that gives planning and zoning control. We're just more concerned about the buildings being preserved. That's our focus, not what's in the
Which
building.
is the whole reason for us being included with our column in the land use table.
Right.
That they have to consult that.
Right. Exactly,
Okay. So we're all agreed that the business package liquor is C.
yes.
Yeah, I guess. I'm losing the logic in a few things, but I'll go with it.
You just, we've got to get onto our regular meeting.
Because now we're
Do
getting
you-
to the good stuff here in the next couple, so let's make that.
Do you have strong feelings about this?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, so then we stopped at clinical medical, and I had said O because we already have one. But if, if we're looking at future, is this an O or a C?
I think it's a C.
I think C on almost all of these, even though there's O's, I say we say C. What's the other one? Is it, some of these, what's the P? It's an administrative permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, administrative permit. So there is a third.
I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, I don't either, but I know there's a P on the campground municipal. Anyway, just curious.
How about clubs, fraternal lodges, social clubs, veterans? It's allowed right now. Seems like that's certainly been around since the beginning of Seward.
Yep.
Should we just say O?
Well, I would say O until I consider it from Commissioner Lemaster's perspective, and that is somebody coming in now and putting in a club.
Well, or taking that Resurrection Bay Baptist Church and turning it as an Elk. Now, wasn't that the Elks Club at one point?
I don't think it was the Elks, but it certainly was a restaurant.
It was called Legends.
Yeah, Legends.
Was it Legends? I thought
Yep.
it was Elks originally. All right, I'm happy with whatever anybody wants there.
Art, what do you think? Under
It's-
clubs for
well,
turn?
C, I think it's
I think C, for us, C is gonna be the biggie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Have it looked at.
Commercial communication tower less than 16 feet diameter, 70 or 70, so to me, this is a no.
Yeah, we leave that blank.
Blank, yeah.
Yay!
I'm even gonna write in.
I think most of these are gonna be, these ones coming up.
Okay, so this is going to be a no. Commercial communications tower, 16 feet, blah, blah, blah. No on a correctional prison facility, no on crematory. Stop me if anybody has a difference, okay?
Yeah, we don't need a
Docks-
crematory down here.
Docks, wharfs, industrial cargo, no.
Not
Dock
any-
passenger.
Not anymore.
But
Yeah,
let's say, okay, I think like Commissioner Benoit. There used to be a dock and there used to be a passenger, you know,
There was
a
a ferry.
ferry, okay? So what if the Sea Life Center, for example, wanted to put a dock in and have, you know, a science boat take people out on the Sound?
Don't they already have one? Doesn't the University of Fairbanks have a dock?
Well,
Down
they
there?
do, but that's the University of Fairbanks.
To me,
It's
that
strictly
like,
use.
The dock that used to be here was the heartbeat of this place. If we were gonna say, no, we're not gonna allow that,
No, so
that
I'm
seems
saying,
crazy.
I'm saying it from your perspective. I think that should be something allowed. There's only so much area they can do it.
I think it should be allowed.
So you're saying dock passenger?
Yep.
But C?
What's your opinion?
I'm
No,
fine
we're-
with it.
We're saying oh.
Oh, I'm okay with it.
Art?
We had the Tustamina coming in.
I would like the building to look.
Well, it's a
Even
dock.
new construction, I'd like it to look old and cool, you know, where it's-
So
But
does that
but
mean
it's a dock.
conditional? Cause you love that, C, conditional instead?
to me, it's a C.
Okay.
We want it to look right. I mean, we would like it to look right.
Obviously, if you put in a
I know.
dock, there's buildings associated, there's other stuff besides just the dock.
Yeah.
And if it ended up looking like something very modern looking, that probably wouldn't be good.
Which, if it were related to the Sea Life Center, would look very modern if you look at the Sea Life Center. So,
C.
I think that Art is right, a C. Okay, drinking establishment, bar, nightclub, lounge,
C. That's already a C anyway.
okay? Driving facility, fast food, no.
Leave it blank.
And I don't think First National has a drive-through, does it?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Does it? Uh-oh.
One of the last things Eric did was drive through that.
Okay, so
He barely
should
made
we-
it, but he did it.
Should we take banking off that as a qualifier and not have it be part of that? So in other words, that's permitted?
Well, actually, it seems like sounds like you're more worried about is fast food. Like
Yes.
you don't want to see a
Exactly.
McDonald's on 4th Avenue.
Exactly.
But what if, I'm just thinking out loud, what if somebody's like bought a historic building and said, I love McDonald's and I'm gonna leave the building exactly like it is and make it look beautiful and restore it, you can come in here and buy a McDonald's hamburger.
That should be all right.
Right, so that's the thing.
C.
That
Fast
should be a
food,
C.
When you think about like a little
Okay,
teacher on,
that's a C.
that's probably what you
Again, it
consider
really
fast
goes back
food.
to the buildings themselves.
Okay.
That's our primary
So
concern.
we all agree it's a C? Okay. Dwelling apartment in a commercial building limited to one unit, I put O. I don't know.
Fine with me.
Art? Sue?
I think, limited to one unit, I think that should be an O, and I think the dwelling, 2 or more units should be a C. And none of the rest of it. leave it blank, although they've got C on all of them.
But that doesn't mean we have to.
I know. But if we have,
So, okay, Art?
I think for us, it would be a O, right? Because one unit.
one unit would be an O, yeah.
Yeah, she's saying the 2 or more units is the one she's saying we should have a conditional use permit. The one below the 1 unit.
Yeah, but we're not really concerned about the apartment, we're concerned about the building.
That it looks like from the outside.
So what difference does it make if there's 2 units in there or 1?
Right.
I don't get why we
Right.
care. I mean, obviously whoever gets it,
I wonder
they're gonna have
why,
to
No,
deal
I
with
think we
building
should be-
codes and sprinkler
Yeah,
systems and all the different things that. So why do we
See,
care
like
if there's
if
1 or 2?
it were like, you know, Sourdough Lodging, or if it were like Brown and Hawkins, there'd be no big deal, because the facade is the same and it's
Right,
in the
so
back,
they have a bunch of.
and it's in the back.
yeah.
So that's why I would say conditional use permit, because that's what we want, in the back.
I
We
mean,
don't
how
want
many
it in the
apartments do they
front.
have
But
upstairs
if you
in Brown
can't
and
see
Hawkins,
from the
like
front,
6 or
you
8?
can't tell how many people are in there, why does it matter?
I'm saying that they could make it look like there's apartments. So I'm saying the conditional use permit would be, yeah, that's totally cool, just do it to the back, don't have it on the
So as long
front.
as it's visibly from the front of the building, you can't tell that it
Exactly.
is.
That's why I say conditional,
Okay.
on the 2 or more units.
Couldn't they do the same kind of thing with just 1 unit? Like either make it look good or not good? In which case that should be conditional too?
Well, okay. You're probably going for continuity, right?
It's like I can't, to me, I just think of the outside of the building, I can't figure out what the number of people in there staying in a unit, or how many.
Because you don't want it to look like there's these multiple units of, you know,
Can I,
yes.
I was just gonna interject here, I'm just gonna point out that we have like 5 more pages of this, and we are already into our meeting time. I think we may need to cut this short and postpone it maybe till our work session, but it's taking us a long time to go through this, and we have run out of time.
We're not going to do this next week. Because we're doing this next week. There's no way we can do both.
Well,
But,
can we,
that doesn't mean that I'm not agreeing with you in stopping and putting it off
However,
till another
however
meeting.
we wanna deal with it, I just think it's time
Okay,
to get on to our
okay.
meeting.
So why don't we put this into the next work session?
Okay.
Regular work session.
February 10th.
Yes,
okay.
okay. So,
So close
We
that
are-
out so we could go
we-
into.
we are adjourning the meeting at 7:43.
I just looked at all the pages we have. We're gonna
We are ready, Madam Chair.
This is the regular meeting of the Seward Historic Preservation Commission meeting, January 13th, 2022, 8:47.
7:47.
Excuse me, 7:47, correction.
Thank you.
All right. Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Ward, would you like to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair, will you please take roll call?
Tonight's roll call. Walker is excused. Ward,
Here.
Lemaster.
Here.
Benoit.
Here.
Lebrecht is excused.
Yes.
And Chair Cease.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have any citizen comments?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second for an approval of the agenda and consent agenda.
I move we approve the agenda and the consent agenda.
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'm okay with the minutes.
Yep. Okay.
No discussion?
Okay, voting on the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. Lemaster.
Do you approve of?
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Benoit.
Yes.
And Chair Cease.
Yes.
Thank you. Your agenda and consent agenda are approved, and approved on your consent agenda are the December 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Special orders, presentations, and reports. Proclamations and awards, none. We don't have a city personnel, so we have no city administration report, unless
We
we
do
have our
have-
director of library.
That's fine.
These are administrative.
Oh, you are, I'm sorry. Do you have any?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Just a
Director of the library. Director Saylor, terribly sorry. All right, chair report. Sorry this didn't come out in your packet. Just a reminder, next week we have the work session simply for the edits of the standards and guidelines.
time. Just out of, is it 6:15?
No, we're changing,
That's what I
that's on
thought.
it's on my list.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, we are going to go back to our beginning time of 6 p.m. We had changed it to 6:15 for the benefit of somebody's work schedule who no longer is on the commission. And that extra 15 minutes may have kept us from going over 9
Right.
p.m. last time.
Right.
All right, so we just took care of that, who's down there. Okay, and, okay. Before I get into the next part of my report, I want to thank Brenda, Clerk Ballou, and Director Saylor for preparing our work session packets to include all we need to get our land use plan for our historic business district developed and completed. Thank you very, very much for your work on that.
It's what we needed. It's what will move it forward. Thank you.
The following this is coming up for public input on the 24th council meeting. This is this coming Monday. And this is the ordinance 2022-002, amending portions of Seward City Code 15.10.140 definitions to amend the definition for light manufacturing and to amend 15.10.226 land uses allow table allowing light manufacturing in a central business district with a conditional use permit. It is imperative that we get an ordinance written or a resolution, whichever is more powerful, for both P&Z and the council defining the historic business district boundary. In addition, at a later time in the near future, a land use column to be added to P&Z's land use table.
Well spoken.
Now, I don't know how any of you feel about light manufacturing in our district. I encourage each of you, if you are able to make a citizen comment at that meeting requesting the column for the historic business district boundary be added to the land use table with definitions of land uses to follow through the Sewer Historic Preservation Commission, which is currently at work on the definitions. With your permission, I will make the same request as chair on behalf of our commission. Now, in discussion in our earlier work session, we talked a little bit about light manufacturing. We don't have a definition, but we talked about some of the things that could fall under. So I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you are for or against, but I would like to make a comment on behalf of the commission, but I need your permission to do that. So if you don't agree, this is your time to tell me. This is your time to say yay or nay. And then, of course, as a private citizen, you have the choice to go in and make any comment you choose.
So I'm just a little unclear. So, I think I'm behind the historic business district boundary to be added to the, or the historic district added to the land use table. And I don't have a problem with light manufacturing if we know exactly what that means. Is that what you wanted to hear? Is that, I don't know what, I'm happy for you to speak on our behalf to get that column added in the work land use table, and I'm okay with light manufacturing.
Yeah, I also agree that I'd like to see the column added as we have been discussing, and I also do not have a problem with light manufacturing from what I remember of that definition of what it was at the last meeting, because it seems like it's just small scale, no loud noises or smells or anything else, and things like the manufacturing candy at Bretton Hawkins is light
Is an
manufacturing.
example.
It's something
You're right.
that's been happening for 100+ years, so
Well, not really. That's
I'm
fairly new
okay.
business.
I'm
Virginia.
okay with it, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any
so,
comment by?
yes, Commissioner Lemaster.
I agree 100% with you guys. And I wouldn't, I guess I would leave the definition loose for light manufacturing. Because if someone wants to build custom furniture, that'd be fine. Or picture framing or quilting, as candy. That's
Okay, so let me clarify. I have your permission to request the column for the historic business district boundary be added to the land use table, which is going to come up also at that.
Okay, so just real quickly,
But
so we're talking.
nothing about the light manufacturing.
If your position is that you're against it, I would not want you to speak for me and
Right,
say I'm
exactly.
against it.
Right.
That's what I'm
not.
saying right now.
Okay.
That's
Just wanna make
exactly
sure.
what I'm saying right now. So I'm not dealing with that.
Okay,
But I am allowed or supported by you to say that we would like to have our column added to the land use
right.
table.
And the only thing I would say is it's a historic business district. We need to take the word boundary out.
Okay,
Does that make sense? So we're
Yes.
talking about the historic business district column to be added to the land use table,
okay,
correct?
perfect, yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and like I say, I have no problem, so I think you're appropriate to not speak to an issue you're not,
I agree.
Yeah,
But
that's
but you do support me in this,
absolutely.
all right. Okay. Commissioner Lemaster has some very exciting news to report tonight. And I would like to thank Mary Ann Benoit for doing the edits for the 2021 annual review and the 2022 priorities. Thank you so very much.
Very nice,
Welcome.
Mary Ann. Well done.
Upcoming tasks in February will be the CLG report, which I have been doing on my own. And I'm hoping that Commissioner Benoit, who I know is super, super busy, will help me with this year's, because I don't believe that I did last year's justice.
I don't know if I
And
know
we don't
anything about
have,
it.
and
but-
we do not, no, you don't. But I have the form, it's, populating form, and it's, anyway, I would ask Commissioner LeBrecq, but he will not be available. So anyway, we can talk about that between ourselves later. You can say yea or nay.
Okay.
Moving on. Other reports and announcements. Report on the Historic Preservation Facebook page.
Well, basically, in December, we had one post that went out. It was about Brown and Hawkins, 100-year family affair. And that we also, right at the beginning of January, had another one about Built to Last, which is about the McDonald building. So we've started doing things as we discussed at the last meeting, which is basically one post per month. It's the sign, shows the whole sign, has the whole narrative, high quality graphics. So that's what we did, we put 2 out. As far as the statistics, it looks like.
And you also, I'm not sure, Commissioner Benoit included this, but you have these posts through May, 6 months.
Right, yeah, I'll get to that. So anyway, as far as those 2 posts go, it looks like the reach was up and people are engaging.
Yay!
And clicking on the post, and the way you can tell that is if you look down below, you can see the reach, like say Built to Last, it said 320, and 28 people liked it, no comments, people were sharing. But then you see link clicks, that means 33 people actually clicked on those and was like, I want to read that
cool.
sign. So they actually, instead of just scrolling down, they clicked on it and spent time looking at it. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Same thing with the second one, the one about Brown and Hawkins had 43 clicks on it. So, all that's good. You can see the page reach, and just because we're putting out one thing a month, it's basically, you can see, it's just a big spike like the day you put it out or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after that, not much is happening. I don't know if we had, the statistics didn't say anything like, do we have any new followers or whatever? So maybe next time we can look and see that, because it's always good to know if we're building our audience.
That makes sense.
Okay, so then basically you can see on the next pages, you can see the posts that were put out. The first 2 are the ones that have already gone out, and you can see the plan for the next several months going through May. And so that is basically it in what the plan is, unless people have comments, additions, or other things that have to happen.
Oh, right. Well, like May, Historic Preservation Month.
So we'll put something on there about that.
Are we allowed to do that, or are we locked into what's already been done through the next 6 months, Director Saylor?
If you want to email me it, I will add it to it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so in May, we need to do, so basically in April, we should probably say.
Okay, now.
May is Historic Preservation Month.
Yeah. And so if you want to do it a month before, in February is Seward's Day. So we would do that in January, which has already gone out. So I guess you just do it in February. Okay?
Okay, hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, so when is Seward's Day?
In February, Madam Clerk, can you help?
I'm looking at the calendar. Just,
Oh,
I'm not sure when it is. I'll Google it real quick.
it's always on a Monday, is it not?
And is that the day that
March
Seward's Day?
28th. March 28th,
March 28th.
Monday.
Is Seward's Day?
March 28th, 2022. Yep.
Oh, maybe I have it in the priorities in February because it is March.
Probably so.
Okay,
That would make sense that you did that.
okay.
So, what happened on Seward's Day? Is that the day we were founded, or
No, Founder's Day is August 28th.
Okay.
It's just a day that celebrates Seward.
Secretary Seward.
William H. Seward,
Yes.
Okay.
who,
Secretary Seward in
Convi-
Abraham Lincoln's cabinet, who
Con-
bought Alaska for $7 million
Yeah.
from the
2
Russians.
cents, 2 cents an
There's a
acre.
sign out here in front.
I think it's 2
Bill
cents an
talks
acre.
about it. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
He was Lincoln's Secretary of State.
I said that.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
But
I
this
did.
may be where I heard it. Yeah, well done.
Commissioner Benoit, are you
I think
good with the
that's it.
Facebook?
Yeah, as long as you guys said that's all you're thinking.
Thank you for doing that. We appreciate your work very, very much, and you too, Director Saylor.
Yay.
Moving on to the CLG grant update, Commissioner Benoit.
Nothing much is happening. The signs for Ellsworth, Van Gilder, and Seward Commercial Company they were fixed to fit perfectly in their frames, and they have been brought to Seward, and you have them stored someplace.
Donna Walker's heated garage.
I did text Austin a note
Okay.
and just say, hey, these are here.
Okay?
Just let me know, what you're thinking about potential installation, which I'm sure is just all going to depend on weather and a variety of things. I have not heard back, so I don't know when he was thinking of doing this, but that's what's happening.
I probably wouldn't be till
Well-
spring, I would have thought.
Well, they're on the buildings,
Oh, they are?
so
Oh,
they're
okay,
kind
well,
of
never mind.
protected.
Yeah.
But we will see his in-laws Saturday night.
Saturday.
You'll meet them.
Okay, so basically that's what's happening. I assume that nobody will die if they're not put up immediately. And
They're here, they're ready to go,
And
Put up
and
when
he's
they
been
are.
paid.
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of getting,
Yeah,
connecting with him.
Thank you, Commissioner Benoit.
sure.
Now,
That's
I am
it.
most excited, Commissioner Lemaster, you're up. Update on the USS Alaska project.
I contacted Wayno, is his first name, and last name is Solo, S-A-L-O. And he's a very interesting guy. He was on his email kind of tells it all. He was on the original crew when the USS Alaska was launched.
Wow.
So he's a submariner.
Yeah, and he's retired now, but he is what they call a plank owner. He's being part of the original crew. But it's it's had a long service, and it's a ballistic missile submarine. Very interesting. It has 24 missiles plus 4 torpedo tubes, and its top speed is still classified, and its depth, how deep it can go, is also classified. But it's been in service since 1986, and the Navy is looking to retire these boats. There were 33
Total?
of that Ohio class that were launched in the 80s. And the timing is that the new generation, they're calling them the Columbia class, will go into service in 2030. So they're going through, the Navy's going through hull by hull, what could be upgraded and last until the new ones come out. But this boat will be retired.
All right. So, Commissioner Lemaster, it was my understanding that the USS Alaska was actually import here during World War II.
No, no.
No,
I don't
not
think
World War
so.
II?
No,
It's a different boat.
And they want to bring it here
they do.
Right?
Yes,
to
but
make some
it's a-
sort of a museum of it.
Right.
Yeah, but this boat's a nuclear submarine.
Yeah, it's a nuclear, yeah, it's a,
The boat that,
So it has nothing to do with World War II. Okay,
Right,
X
yeah.
that out of your brain.
yeah. And it's of course, it's now an old boat. It was by Navy standards.
Yes.
But anyway, it's going to be retired. some, and I don't know when exactly.
But the plan is they want to make a memorial here in Seward, where it was in port for some period of time.
This was its official port.
Yeah, its home base is actually in Georgia. Kings Bay, Georgia is its home port.
But it was officially, because it's been here a couple of times.
Yeah, but what is planned will be a model of this ship.
Oh,
Because this particular boat is 42 feet, the beam is 42 feet,
That's large.
and it's 560 foot long.
well, we knew it would be big.
Yeah, but
There's gonna be a model, eh?
it'll be a model.
Okay.
I believe they've already approached, they've made a presentation to city council. So, we just keep posted on the plans.
Yep. And I emailed Bueno today. I haven't heard back with any current status, but these, if they did even a 1/10 scale model, it would be huge. So.
Okay. Honestly, I must say, I'm disappointed.
I thought they were gonna get,
Because I thought they were gonna have the actual submarine and make a museum of it and have it here in Seward. But that was my understanding, and if they want, it's their project. If they're going to do a model of it, wonderful.
Well, it's just not feasible. It's not feasible. The thing's huge.
Well, we wanted to bring in the Tustamina retired ferry that we could buy for $1 and make a museum B&B. That was one of our former commissioners' comments.
so
you
you're just linking with them right now, keeping,
As a point of contact.
Yeah, it's wonderful information, and we're so grateful that you did contact and, bring accurate information to the commission.
But it's a huge boat.
yeah.
There's for example, there's 155 guys on that.
Oh my,
So it's huge.
I'm terrible with dimensions.
Yeah, but in terms of scale, it's just.
When is the Navy planning to retire this particular?
Well, I don't have an exact date. Their timetable.
It's like 5 years.
For thereabouts. Yeah, because it was launched in '86 and it commissioned in launched in '85, commissioned in '86, and their timetable's 42 years of service. So that would be 2028 retirement date. So it's or sooner. It depends on that particular boat.
Okay.
Okay, so this doesn't fall in our preview. This isn't 50 years old. It's not part of us.
But it's history. It is.
I
a
realize
significant-
that.
It is a significant historical, not something that we're,
Madam Clerk's laughing at me.
I'm not laughing.
yeah, I guess I always just think about, I have to get out of my mind that history happened
Happens all the
100
time.
years ago. No, history happened yesterday.
That's true, right, you're right.
So,
History
yeah.
happened when Lydia won the Olympic
Yeah.
medal.
That was history.
Yes, big
So-
history, you're
Big
talking.
history, yeah.
For Seward, absolutely.
So,
Okay.
anyway, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Lemaster. All right, so, moving on. We are to discuss our priorities, which you'll find on page 17. We are also, what's not on here but is included in our packet and has to be done along with these, is our Historic Preservation Commission resolution for 2022. It's in here. I've gone over it and, you know, made corrections. And I'd like to go through that with you. But first we'll look at we'll follow the agenda and deal with our 2022 Historic Preservation Commission priorities and meeting schedule. Okay. And Clerk Ballou pointed out an important addition that is missing. And that is our work session topics. But as she said that, I don't see that we have meeting topics. So you want both ahead of time?
Yeah, we don't need to have everything for every meeting yet, but
Like maybe for the first 3 months? Or?
like at each meeting, if we could project for the next meeting and work session.
Okay,
so I
that's
could
fair.
Get topics.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
that was the purpose of the
That's-
priorities, so that the agenda kind of did itself. That was the whole purpose of that, when I designed this form.
Okay, so we need meeting and we need work session topics. And we do this, for instance, we would do that tonight for February. Is that correct?
That'd be terrific.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be exactly correct. That would
Okay.
be great.
So, for, February should, okay, so it's Seward's Day. No, it's not. Oh yes, okay, so this is where we go, Seward's Day, posted by clerk. Okay, and then it's the, submit the annual CLG report. So a topic would be, and as we're going here, the next meeting we already know, we will be continuing our
You could put the
planning.
historic overlay on that. Yeah.
Yes, and
And that, sure.
Okay.
That's a
So,
perfect use.
February, work session, we know is going to be the planning use table,
Land use table.
land use table. Okay, so that's work session. Bear with me, I'm writing this
No,
down.
you're doing great.
Okay, work. Okay, and his override. All right, and then for the regular meeting, that's when we're going to do our ordinance or our resolution for our historic business district boundary. Okay?
Boundaries.
So, regular meeting, okay. Reg meeting.
For the overlay.
Yeah. Is that what we actually call it?
Well,
We started calling it the boundary, but maybe that was just so we understood what we were talking about.
this historic district boundary and then the
The
downtown historic.
overlay, yeah, they're two different things.
They are?
Yeah, one's the boundaries, which we need to address. And then the, I mean, we can call it something else. Who was it that suggested? I mean, overlay may be a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we just deal with our historic business district boundary,
Right.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can we just,
Yeah.
okay.
I think the overlay, we probably should drop that verbiage and then there's design standards and guidelines. Those two things. I think the overlay, it gets confusing.
Yeah, I never did understand
We
Yeah.
just want to be able to tie it to the zoning, you know.
So we'll have to
the-
change
Yeah.
that zoning. We would do a resolution for that, Madam Clerk,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Okay, so then at the same time, we do a resolution to that.
And that we could get that done at the next meeting.
Yes. Okay, so okay, and by the way, I like to work on resolutions or ordinances in the work session, so by the time we get to the regular meeting, we vote.
When they're done.
Because they take a lot of time to go through and agree on.
You just can't do it all in the same night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then we're going to write this in February, and then it's going to be submitted in March,
Yeah,
okay?
right.
Okay, so,
Well, one part can be done in
Okay.
February, but the land use table, you won't have finished.
no,
until-
we won't.
And so that resolution will come in maybe
But-
in March.
But the boundary, we've already defined.
Yeah, that.
So
yeah,
we can do that,
We'll have that one in February.
yes. Okay. Yeah, but at the same time, we need to write another one to drop overlay in the current zoning, is that?
No,
Okay, what did you reference? We have to drop overlay in what?
No, nothing, I think we're
I think
okay.
overlay was just something we were doing, so I don't think there's
Okay.
anything official.
Yeah, I think we're okay. We're gonna
Yeah.
have the boundaries in the one, and then we'll have the land use table
In the other,
request in the other one.
right.
Yes,
Those
and
are
that'll
two
be,
separate things.
that'll be in March.
Mhm.
So right now, we're dealing with February.
Yep,
So in February, we'll define March.
yep.
Okay, so, just to go over this, work session. Actually, okay, so work session, we're gonna continue on and hopefully finish this land use table definitions. And I put historic overlay, but we don't need that, because we've already defined our boundary.
Right.
All right? So we're just, in the work session, we're going to write our resolution or ordinance, whichever is most powerful, on our historic boundary.
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay, so just to be clear, you will do resolutions, and then after
in the
that,
work session.
you'll do,
And then we'll vote on them on the one.
so this commission will pass resolutions, and then after it goes through P and Z, then you can sponsor an ordinance to go to council.
Okay.
But at this level, you don't.
Okay, I see.
You don't
Gotcha.
do ordinances.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're doing this to P and Z. Okay. And so, again, we're going to, Madam Clerk, we're going to do the work on writing this
Yeah.
in the work session.
In the work
Yeah.
session.
So that in the regular meeting, we just vote. Okay. And then in the regular meeting, we're gonna vote on that. What else are we going to do? Because in the work session, we've done the land use table. Hey, if we finished the land use table, we could actually vote on that in the regular meeting. Right? I mean, in that we agree, not that we're writing a resolution, because you said we can only do one.
Oh, yeah. You
Okay.
could, you could, yeah.
So we could actually, in the work session, we could finish, we hope, and then in the regular meeting, we could vote on what we have finalized.
And
Yeah,
actually-
we're still gonna have to draft a resolution for you to approve though.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
not at that meeting. You said we couldn't at that meeting.
That's right.
So, in the work session, we're gonna go through it, hopefully we're gonna finish it. In the regular meeting, we can come to an agreement.
Yes.
In the following meeting, we'll write our
We'll do the
resolution.
official, yeah,
Okay? Or,
yeah.
good? Okay. Do you have all that, or do I have to?
No, it's good. You're just gonna you're gonna do an extra vote, then you don't need to, but that's okay if you do it.
I think we
just want
should.
us to, okay,
I'm good with it.
all right,
Extra vote, you
Okay.
can never have too many votes.
yes,
Okay.
agreed. Agreed? Okay. All right. So that takes care of February.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Is
anything
this-
else
is
needs
this
to
the
be
one
to you
that-
by when?
Is this the one that Mary Ann and I did? No, it does, it has.
Just
to be
curious,
additions.
I never can keep that straight.
So I have to
Values.
I have to notice the agendas for your meetings and the topic for your work session the week.
Yes.
In the newspaper the week before.
And then we have to have everything for the packet to her by noon Tuesday of the meeting week. Or,
Sooner.
or, So we are working with both Clerk Baloo and Director Saylor on these packets. If you have things that you want to
Yeah,
submit
just
for the
send 'em.
packet.
Send them to both of us.
Yep, okay.
Send them to Bailey. Get 'em from
March work session. So March work session is going to be to write the ordinance. No. We can't write ordinances, we have to write resolutions?
Well, you have to get through the process with,
Okay, so we write a resolution about the land use table for P and Z. Right, in March,
could do,
It-
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
we
just,
get it
I'm
done.
just going through here.
No, I
because-
think it's perfect.
Because we're supposed to be going through this and agreeing with this.
Right.
So we can submit this to council.
And I like the idea that we're doing it so that our meetings, agendas are set. You know, that gives
Everybody,
clerks a little bit of a heads up.
and us too.
And us too, but, you know, that's trying to
So-
support this group.
So at the February meeting, we're gonna come up with the topics of the work session and the regular meeting. Okay,
Okay?
and so what we've got written here for the meeting is review and update draft of Seward's Day proclamation for March. But that actually should be happening in February, for March. Is that right, Madam Clerk?
No, well, you have time in March because your meeting is earlier.
Earlier in the.
All right, all right.
If you meet on the 10th, Seward's Day is the 28th.
Yeah, right.
So, in council meeting actually would.
Be okay. The other thing that I was noticing, I don't remember, this is just something in the dark recesses of my mind, which is a scary
How
place.
far have you gone? Where are you?
I'm just in this first pit. Don't we
Okay.
have, awards that we need to review
Yes,
and
in
get those
April?
out? Yeah.
Yeah, those
They
come
need
in
to be
April.
out by April, right?
Your deadline
No, we're
is
going to
April.
get them by April, and at the April meeting, we're gonna go through and decide who we're awarding.
Right, but
And then
don't-
they'll be awarded in May.
I understand that, but so don't we need to address those in some of these meetings, either in February?
No?
Or March?
Because we won't have them. She's just noticed them to the public this month.
Oh, okay. That's what, I just remember,
And then they're due April.
so are they on here?
May 12th is review the nominations and,
Okay. I just, like I say, there you go, carry out planned National HP Month activities, HP award presented by council, May 23rd.
But we receive them in April. What's the date we receive them though? Last year, it didn't work for us to go through them in April. So can we have
That's what
them
I
due by,
remember.
yeah, can we have them due by April 12th or something, so that at the 14th meeting, we can actually decide, so we know, so in May, council already knows who's gonna be awarded?
you set the deadline for April 20th.
April 20th, after our meeting, again. And it's already been noticed. Okay, that's fine. They're
Just have
due
to go
April
with it.
20th, and we'll review them at our May 12th meeting, and then who we choose, it'll go to council, and council will give out
On the
the awards.
23rd.
And if you want, remember you can do a special meeting if you wanted to do something, meet sooner.
That's true.
You can
If we get a
always-
few of them or whatever, we
Sure.
can always
Yep.
make the adjustment.
Okay. Or special, or awards.
And what we probably want to do
All
at some
this was
point.
on here.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But the point being is that we knew with this particular form that it would take a couple years to get it to where we had everything in the right place. So that's why I was noticing. Because what I found, Commissioner LeMaster, was that there was some things happening out there and I had absolutely no idea they were happening because I was new. And so the idea is, so we probably want to update those and put it in the right place so the
Yeah,
next
see
time
there,
it
it's
happens before the
here.
meeting.
But
It's just,
No,
it's going to take
see?
time.
see, HP award nominations and vote on winners, that's in May.
Yeah, I have.
But we
Yeah.
wanted to do, you wanted to do it in April, before the meeting in April, so that we had more time.
Before the
Yeah, all I'm saying is for the following year, we just make that note so we can make
Yeah.
that change, that's all.
Yeah. Can you write that down?
I can.
Thank you, Sue. I mean, Commissioner Ford, I apologize. And in May, we have that we're going to again discuss the CLG, which we've not done tonight, which was on tonight's work session. So, and that's all right. So on that, I'd like to state that that could be floating, because we never know when the CLG is gonna open. So we can, kind of talk about ideas, so we're
Brainstorm some
ready
ideas,
when they open, but time-wise, I don't think we're pinned to anything. But right now, we do have in May that that's something that we'll do. Boy. So, HP award nominations and vote on winners, that should be moved to the regular meeting, not the work session.
Yeah, the vote has to be in the regular
Yes,
meeting.
but right now it's in the work session column.
So that
So
would,
that's gotta be moved to the regular meeting.
to May 12th?
Yeah, they're both on May 12th. It's current, so HP award nominations and vote on winners is currently in the work session.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
I just
so it's
moved it
gotta
down.
be moved, yeah, okay. In June, we're gonna discuss Founder's Day and collaborate with Resurrection Bay Historical Society and advance, hopefully, we may even do this sooner, the
The
historic
trajectory is.
boundary planning table to P and Z. Boundary, that's gonna go sooner. And land use. Those are probably both gonna go sooner. So, this is a bit fluid, because we're already working on some of this, and we could very well be done ahead of time.
And this is always our best laid plan. We may do better, we may do slower, so this just simply reflects what we're doing, and we just need to be flexible. It's just to keep us kind of on the straight and narrow. We've got lots of bits and pieces.
Somebody's gotta keep us on straight.
Okay. So, actually, we are, in the meeting, we are going to advance, or by resolution or whatever, to P and Z, the boundary land use table, if we haven't already done that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, okay, so in the meeting, we're gonna continue to plan Founder's Day activities. The reason that we're doing this, Founder's Day is not until August 28th, but we're discussing this in June because July is hiatus, there is no meeting. Just to explain why we're doing it,
Right.
2 months early. Okay, so, as you can tell, I didn't break things out because I didn't have work session on mine.
Yeah.
All right, so August, review and update the Founder's Day proclamation. August, it just feels like there's things missing. Anyway, in August.
We can always add
we're-
those to at the next meeting, don't.
In August, at the work session, we should go over the inventory list.
Yes.
That's it.
Research structure, sites, and promote and nominate. So
And
the
then-
inventory list is really good.
Yes. So we do that in the work session. And do we have to do anything, Madam Clerk, in a regular meeting with that? It has to go to it has to go to SHPO annually. So is there anything we vote on or anything, or can we just do our work in the
It's
work
just
session and it gets sent?
I think it's just
Or do we have to-
notifying. I think it's
Yeah, I
just
don't
notifying. There's nothing we're voting, we're just
Yeah,
updating their list.
Exactly.
So I don't think there's
Okay.
anything that
So
should
the
be
work
from
session, we're
us.
gonna work on the inventory list in August. And in August, we're going to, okay, I already said that. September, research, structures, sites, and promote and nominate to, and that's to the historic,
Do the buildings list.
Local registered.
registry, that's it, thank you. Having trouble with my words tonight. Okay, and this is really important for us to do this year, because I don't believe it's been done for several.
We probably need to focus on it.
Yeah, okay.
So I think it's been since 2015.
Oh my gosh.
16 it was.
'Cause I think,
Goodness.
I think, wasn't it you and Iris worked on it
Was
pretty
the-
heavily?
was the-
Right
Oh, we
when I
tried.
first came.
I tried.
Right.
But it never went
Jim
anywhere.
Right.
Because it was
House
time.
was the
Yeah.
last one.
Well,
with-
we
I
know
mean,
that.
might be it.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm not familiar.
But
with
yeah, so
Yeah.
that, we need to maybe
It's been a while.
focus on that
Yeah,
come this fall.
definitely.
Been a while.
And Commissioner Benoit brought this up earlier, that for both our inventory and this task, the CLG project we just finished with the historic signs and the research we did is probably going to lend some help to accomplishing both these tasks.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. We did a lot of research.
We did. Okay, so we're still on September 8th and at the meeting, we award, nope, we're working on it, aren't we? September 8th, we're researching at the work session.
Right, but
And then at the regular meeting, we nominate?
didn't we were looking at plaques?
Yeah,
Local
we award structures and
plaques?
sites.
We were looking
Okay.
at some local,
Yeah, why do we need to research stuff? We already have a whole, like, I brought this list forward at a previous meeting of like, here's all the things that we already researched for our walking tour.
right, we just
said,
need
wait,
to
we
organize
need
it. I
to-
just think
we
we
need
need
to
to
get-
organize it.
Some of those are already on the historic
But there's some
registry.
new ones too.
Right, that's what we want to focus on. So we want to pull from the research the
You've
ones that
done-
are
you've
not.
done a lot
Like, I already did that and submitted it
Yes,
meetings ago.
but I think we're supposed to have like 10. Somewhere 10 is in my brain.
Well, we can
So-
update it, take a look at it, organize
Yeah.
it, and then we
Yeah.
talked about those plaques for some local building.
Yeah, those can come up anytime.
Yeah.
Well, we want to kind of get them on paper and have sort of a guideline because like you just said, they haven't been done since 215,
And we want to make
216.
sure we get them in smaller chunks so we can start do a little bit every year so we don't get behind like we are now.
Oh, yeah. The other thing we were going to do in what's now the work session, okay, is the grant library creation. So hopefully we're going to be working on, collecting grants, getting
Starting
grants
that
printed,
process.
so we can get something put together to be stored at the library for public use.
Yeah. It would just, probably a notebook, some kind of
Yeah.
binder
Yeah.
that says, these are the grant opportunities, and we would need to be responsible for updating that.
Yeah.
So that people could go and say, hey, I want to do my building, and I'm looking for a roof.
Just a thought.
Yes, Commissioner Benoit.
There was something Resurrection Bay Historical Society sent out recently that was talking about this
Yeah.
new
Yes.
place where there were, you could potentially get grants, and I forget what it was called.
Yeah, we
But
got
they-
that, it's in a packet a few months ago that we got from
We
Lorraine.
need to look at that.
Doreen Lorenz.
Anyway, they had said in this email that I just got this week, it was like, it would be great if you could like share this and put this on your website. So I was thinking,
Good idea.
like, I thought, oh, maybe what we could do is we could go to our page that talks about the historic walking tour, and underneath it could say something like, resources to help you restore your historic building.
Grants
And
too,
then we
yeah.
just have links to all these places. So
Yeah.
even though it's not like a grant library, it's like a list of places. Anyone who's looking there, they can click and they can go. We've provided them places to go look.
Right, and I think that's
No,
a
that's
great,
an excellent idea,
So
Commissioner
it could be the
Benoit.
start of our library.
Yeah, but we also want to have a physical one.
yeah, well, hard copies always helpful
Yes.
to those of us who are not computer literate.
Yeah.
But the other thing that will
Excellent.
do is that it'll have people get in the habit of looking at the website. You know, we
Yeah,
want people.
more resources we can do, the better.
Yeah, get
I mean,
more,
I could start by contacting,
Okay,
I
and
forgot his
web.
name from the city, the IT guy, and just ask him if he would create that.
Okay,
on the webpage.
Resources for restoring your historic property, and then add that link, just to kind of get it going.
I think that's an excellent idea. Madam Clerk, to add this to our website, a grant library both physically and on the web, does that require a vote in a regular meeting, or is this something we just do in a work session and?
Oh, you can develop it. I mean, I'm not sure what you'd be voting on except to agree on the.
Agree on establishing it essentially, that's about
Perhaps,
the
you
only
know.
decision.
Yeah, establishing it and then maybe reviewing the content that you're putting. up
Well,
there.
and
Well,
that
that-
would need to be reviewed on a
Well, we're
regular
going,
basis.
it will, but I mean, the initial is doing the work in the work session, because we've got to create the binder.
What is it we're gonna look at? What is
Yeah,
it we wanna
And then doing
do?
the web, having it, put on the web, right?
I say
how
put
we
it in
want
a
it.
work session and we'll figure it out.
That's where I have it, is in the work session.
Yep.
But I wanted to know in the regular meeting, do either of these need to come down in the regular meeting where we formally, during the regular meeting, agree on
Yeah.
the content, or?
We could, as it develops. I
Yeah,
can't really.
I think that's up to
It
us.
depends on what
Up to
form
you
it
as
takes,
chair.
really.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it here in the regular
Yeah,
meeting.
I think that's perfect. I think it's,
Okay.
if that's a decision, you can make that decision.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
fine.
going fluid. Isn't this fun, Chris? I'm sorry, Clerk Chris? Deputy Clerk. Is that right? Sorry.
That's correct.
Okay. So for the October work session, the 217 HP plan, which we know we're working on because these guidelines fall into chapter 8 of that plan.
They will be official and extension of that
And
plan.
where we see historic overlay, we mean boundary. And again, brainstorm 2022 projects.
Like we don't have
October-
enough.
Yeah. So, we also for the priority, develop plan to update the 217 HP plan. But as I just said, this standards and guidelines is an update to that plan. So we are satisfying that.
Bullet point 1, chapter 8.
So,
Which
if we haven't done it already, let's make that meeting, because I think it's going to require a vote that we agree. Actually, we're going to come up to the agreeing to the edits and send this out to an editor, so
Probably,
it's not even
yeah.
going to be an issue come October.
Probably not. Hopefully not.
Oh, but you know what it can do though in October or earlier? We can get it to P&Z.
We can.
And see if they will utilize it as a resource for the people that come to them that want to do any kind of building in our historic business boundary.
There you go.
Okay.
That'll work.
All right. P and oops. Okay, November 10th, educate the public on historical and economical value of historic places. Okay, now wait. I know what's missing here and what we added. Wasn't it October, that the wellness people asked you to do the tour?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, well, first I don't know if it'll happen again next year, or if it does, which I hope it does, that if it would be in October, because I think they had to put it off because of COVID, so my
Okay.
guess is they would like to do that.
Okay, so-
in nicer weather,
Okay,
so.
well, can I put it down in October in the regular meeting? Wellness, history walk? If it comes sooner, it comes sooner, but
comes
at least
sooner.
it's
This is
on,
just a
at
working-
least it's on
Yeah.
our list.
It's just
Okay.
this is a fluid document.
Yeah.
I thought this was gonna be like a pre-conducted. So I will be presenting this next month to council, just like last year instead of
Actually-
January.
So if I can just, on page 14 and 15, in your packet is last year's resolution of the commission.
Right, we-
No, I know, we're gonna do that after we get this done. And I asked you to simply change the date, and then I read this thing and realized, no, you can't just change the date, Cheryl, there's things throughout here that we need to
change.
Yeah. So, or update, whatever. Okay, so in November, during the work session, it was educate the public on historical and economic places and buildings. So, we don't have to have I mean, that can just be left as is, correct?
Yes.
And then into the meeting in November, what did we do this November?
Gosh, it wasn't that long ago and I can't remember.
No. Okay. Oh. Okay, so I have present historic overlay to council.
To council.
Yeah, to council. But
Well,
this
we-
is boundary, and this is probably going to happen before November.
Well, don't we have, how many meetings with council did they
We have them
request?
4 times a year.
So that
And
could
there's
be one
supposed
of
to
them
be
that
two,
month?
there's supposed to be 2 oral and 2 written. And I'm going to request of council that we have 1 oral and 3 written, with your guys' permission.
Sure.
Because I get very nervous talking to the council.
Could this be one of those times where we prepare some remarks, or? I just know on this particular, we don't have any presentation to council, so do we need to work on those in meeting session?
That was supposed to be in here.
It's all right, we just, I'm just asking simply
Yeah,
because.
verbal, so I have it on ongoing tasks and projects.
Okay, that's where
Verbal
it is.
and/or written reports to council quarterly. That is what we are to do.
Okay,
Okay, so, November. Yeah, I have present historic boundary to council, but that's gonna happen beforehand, but for now, let's just put that in.
yeah.
Oh, I already have it, I have it under priorities, okay, great. This writing is too small for me.
For our mature eyes.
And I have requested that the clerk do it in this way for us.
The
So
old
we
lady-
can-
the
so
old
we can
lady big
write
type.
And we can see.
What I use?
Okay, so we're just gonna move on to December. Unless,
Nope, that's fine.
maybe I should put down here in the regular meeting from our work session, educate the public on historic, economic, that maybe the results of that may require, I don't know if it'd be a vote or commission agreement. So it goes into the minutes.
Right.
Okay. Now, December. Review annual results versus priorities. Okay, great. And then during the meeting, review annual results. So my goal, and I don't know if this is accurate, Madam Clerk, my goal has always been to have these together in December, these priorities, and then presented to council in January. But last year it was February, and it says in our resolution this February. So is that okay to stay on that, or should we be having these done by January?
I think that's up to the commission.
And even if we get it done early, it's fine.
Okay, then
You know
why
what I
don't
mean?
we keep it February,
yeah,
because here we
exactly.
are, we started it in December, and here we are in January, still going through it.
Still working it. So I say, give yourself time.
Okay, so then, okay, and then, okay, create annual work on. So regular meeting, no, well, yeah, whatever. The priority is to create annual review and priorities for 2023.
We
We
do
can
that.
talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about it,
Yeah.
and we may
Okay.
make some assignments and some other things, so that'll
Okay.
be good.
And then ongoing tasks and projects. Generate ideas and set priorities for the new CLG grant. Continue Seward Historic Preservation online presence through Facebook. Monitor historic properties and make recommendations.
And
as
those may
appropriate.
actually end up in the agenda as some of those
Yeah,
projects.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
where we have blanks, there may be other things to go as
Yeah.
those
Good.
move on.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward.
So don't worry
Verbal and
that,
written reports to council quarterly, Jesse Lee Memorial, which should be, well, yeah, we'll just leave it that
we'll
way.
be monitoring that.
Yes, and the USS Alaska, and residential historical zoning boundaries. And then we should put, because we've already realized Resurrection Coffee House is not, because we don't have Third Avenue. So then, what do we call it? I was calling it spot places, but what is?
Spot zones. Oh, you're
Well, we were
talking,
talking,
Historic, you know, by it, like, you know, Jesse Lee, we could just call, you know, historic land, and St. Peter's, and
and we would just
Resurrection.
designate those properties,
Okay.
designate those properties as historic and under the guidelines.
So I'm just thinking that while we're doing these residential properties, these are part of what needs to be done too, because they're not in our boundary.
Right.
so basically what you're saying is, we're gonna designate residential historic district compared to the business, historic business
It'll be
district.
outside of that.
But also there's gonna be some spot things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because things like, where's our coffee house isn't residential.
Well,
as
St.
in
I know, that's
Peter's.
what I
still
just said.
A
St.
spot
yeah.
business.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
St. Peter's,
Spot,
Belaine House.
historical, yeah.
all of those
Yeah.
places are not.
And so those
in the-
won't be expanding our boundary, Commissioner Benoit, they'll be their own,
They'll
you know,
just be
historic,
designated.
yes.
Those properties
Designate,
designated.
that's the word, designate, okay. So, that takes us through that. Now we need to back up to the resolution, and it's going on 9. So I'm just, if you just bear with me, walk through this with me.
Sure.
Okay, so obviously we're gonna change the date to 2022, okay? And then, let's see, okay, so whereas at its December 9th, 2021, and January 13, 2022, Preservation Commission granted Chair Cease,
Chair C's, take me out. It's all right.
okay, to review and update Commission's priorities and goals for 2022. Okay. Okay, and then down section 1, the following list of priorities and goals from February 21 should be January 2022 through 2023. Okay, and the following list of priorities and goals from February, oh, I just did that, okay, sorry. Annual reporting to council 4 times, because it's, I should put 314. Okay. Annual certified local grant, CLG grant, goes to the State Historic Preservation Office in February. Public outreach, coordinate efforts with planning and zoning regarding the identification and protection of local historical and archaeological resources. Enhance understanding of the economic benefits of heritage tourism. Celebrate National Historic Preservation Month in May by proclamation. Award the annual Seward Historic Preservation Award in May. Maintain Seward Historic Preservation Commission online presence, because we already improved it. In
Yeah,
fact, we
maintain
created
is a
it.
better word.
I did. I wrote maintain.
Better word.
Okay, and then next page. Okay, update, review, and submit the Seward inventory of historic sites to the offices of history and archaeology according to the guidelines for the Alaska Heritage Resources Survey. Annual review goes out in February. So that's why I crossed that out. Or I crossed that out, you guys. Okay. And then down to the third bullet, support the historic Hoban Park, assist with planters and park overall. Because we're working all over the park.
You might want to say that a little more elegantly.
Okay, how would you say?
I support historic Hoban Park by, we have a plan.
By assisting with planters and restoring historic vegetation.
Right. Well, and also we were having that tree
we were
removed.
talking about the fence,
Right.
we're talking about benches. So that's why I said, and the park overall.
Right, but maybe I was gonna say be a little more specific, like you said, by by replanting assist with planters, replant historic vegetation, assist with removal of, I'm thinking of that one area, just removing plants that don't belong, and,
Invasive species.
yeah, and researching the historic fence and adding perhaps some benches. Those are specifics, and I think it's nice to have specifics when you're making a report to council.
Yeah, but then we have to follow through. We
Well-
don't know when we're gonna be able to do the benches
Fence
or
could take
how.
forever to,
Pardon?
adding all that stuff about the fence makes it sound like we're gonna do that this year.
Well,
Exactly.
that's why I said
And the
research.
benches.
That's why I said
Exactly.
research. I said research.
But
I
do I
didn't
have
say
to
we're
write
gonna
all
do
those
it.
words, research those things?
I think
Why
that's
can't we just say something like,
something vague and nebulous, okay?
yeah,
fine.
like, I mean, the park overall, tell me how to say it elegantly, because that covers all those things, but it doesn't lock us into a timeline, because apparently we have to do this annually, this resolution.
That's why I use the word research, so that you're looking to see if any of that's feasible.
But they don't know what we mean by that.
That's why I was specific.
But again, this is an annual thing. Specifically, we may not get planters done or the fence up this year.
Then you just
So some-
report,
some-
what you do is
somehow-
you know what you do is you
It
just
needs to be
report that.
general.
No, it needs to be specific, and what you do is if you don't get it done, you just say that. We were unable to get it done, and we've moved it to the next priorities.
How about?
A resolution
how about,
feels like it has to be.
How about work towards restoring the historic look and character of Holden Park?
Perfect, that's
How about
a nice.
historic character?
Yep. Why not?
Okay, so I need somebody to tell me how you want this written. Support the historic Hoban Park, and you took out assist with planters at that point. So how do you want this written?
Mary Ann just said, what did you, she just said,
How
Support
about
the-
just say, work towards,
rewrite the whole thing, she's rewriting the whole
Okay,
thing.
so I'm listening.
work towards restoring the historic character of Hoban Park,
Okay, hold it.
period. Work towards restoring the historic character of Hoban Park. Then if they're like, what do you mean by that? Then we could say vegetation,
Planters.
planters, working on eventually getting the fence back up, removing
Okay,
non-native
and-
species, and whatever
And
else
we
we
do
do.
and we do the planters.
Yeah, the planters need to be, I want that to be
Ferns.
clear, that gets done by us every year.
Yep. Yeah, and Mary Ann actually was very cool because somewhere on hers, I don't think what we have here on our annual planning has everything that we did. Because you listed in the summer months, which is very true, watering weekly, by hand, those planters.
Yeah, I put all that stuff in
In the
document
summer.
I sent.
I know, but I didn't see it. So, yeah, kind of, okay. Oh, here it is. Identify the 10 most endangered historic properties in Seward. 10. Do we want to just say, identify the endangered historic properties in Seward and forget the number?
Yeah, because what if there aren't 10?
Exactly.
What if there's
Or
12
15, yeah.
or 8? Just say identify the most
Yep.
endangered historic
Exactly.
properties in Seward.
But before we move on, okay, work towards restoring historic character of Hoban Park and planters or urns. Urns, okay. All right, then I came down to, oh, I guess I need to walk you all the way through, okay.
We're almost done.
Okay, Seward Historic Preservation Plan updated 217. Okay, so it was updated 217, but we're going to update 2022 with our guidelines.
Okay?
Update 2022. Okay. Promulgate economic incentives, historic preservation and education, which we did quite well with our historic sign CLG project last year. Develop historic preservation initiatives and projects. Advance the historic Business district.
Yes.
Okay. Other commission tasks, generate ideas, set priorities, and submit an application for consideration and take action on CLG grant opportunities, stimulate knowledge of local history, heritage, tourism, and cultural awareness. Section 2, this resolution will be brought forward to City Council for approval. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Passed and approved by the Historic Preservation Commission of the City of Seward, Alaska, this 10th day of February 2022.
And we'll vote on it at the next meeting and you'll sign it, we're done. Correct?
Sound good? Is that right?
We can, unless you want to just have this at the special meeting also next week.
We could do that, it wouldn't take but 5 minutes.
Okay,
I mean, it's
And
let's
it's
do
done.
that.
It's
Let's do
done.
that.
As long as
Let's
it's,
do
if
that,
it's
because we're already doing the
Yeah.
priorities and whatever, right?
right, so it'll be done, and then it's off, it's done. Check it off the list.
Okay. So, the last thing is the schedule for the year. We already know when we're meeting. So, so I have this, where do I have it? Because I printed off so I wouldn't, because I always get screwed up on the,
This went down here, this.
yes,
There you
thank
go.
you.
I just saw it flutter to the
Thank
floor
you.
and I didn't make
Okay.
a move.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so, informational items and reports. The 2022 HP meeting and work session schedule, I would like to maintain the second Thursday, work session beginning 6 PM. We like to go until 7:30 and then, or 7:20, take a little, break, and then resume or begin regular meeting and end by 9. Is that
That's
agreeable?
been working.
Yep.
Okay, great, we'll maintain that, we're done. Oh.
Adjourned.
No, I can't do that yet. Madam Clerk, are there any citizen comments?
No.
No citizen comment.
Commission and administration comments and responses, okay, we don't have any of that.
You
I would
have-
like to again thank Clerk Ballou and Director Saylor. And Director Saylor keeps pointing at Clerk Ballou every time I thank you for what you did for our work session and our regular meeting on the land use table information you provided. And I thank my fellow commissioners. I thank Commissioner Benoit again for helping me edit the priorities and annual review. And I thank Commissioner Ward for all her input and help behind the scenes. And I
Lots of
thank
opinion.
Commissioner Lemaster for his great information on the USS Alaska. Lots of clarification and interesting information. Really appreciate that. And I just appreciate all your input and your hard work, because
We have a lot.
we're getting stuff done, guys. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you, Director Saylor, for being here tonight. Thank you, Deputy Chris. Deputy
Chris.
Deputy Clerk, what is your last name?
Tech.
Tech, like technology?
No, Tech. P.
Tech. Okay.
Like chickens
Thank you,
pet.
Deputy Clerk Tech, for joining us, and welcome. And again, thank you, Clerk Ballou, for all of your help in keeping us going and your input. And with that,
Really
we're going to adjourn this meeting, unless any of you, I'm sorry, have comments.
No comment.
We are adjourning this meeting at 9 PM. Done.
Done on time.